Howdy, howdy.
Good morning.
Good evening.
It is. It's a little bit of everything, I guess, isn't it? It's even tomorrow in some
It
places.
is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, future's still here, so we're all good.
That's awesome. How was your guys' week?
Oh, I've had an interesting week. We were with our internet for about 4 days. We had something in our roof. It chewed our internet cable. So that was a bit of a disaster. And then my husband went up to investigate, almost fell through the roof. So now I've got a hole in my roof or in the ceiling. So, yeah, we've got internet back. I still have a hole in my ceiling. But other than that, life is still going.
Life
Put a skylight in.
Exactly. Or
I know, right?
another easy access for where the critter is.
Yeah.
You just
Oh, I know. Yeah,
Did you find?
we've had I don't know what it was. We had the roof baited just in case it's rats, but it sounded too big for a rat. I think it was more like a possum, but we haven't heard it since. Just that one night, and it did a lot of damage. Yeah, it
Wow.
chewed the crap out of this poor cable. It was just had all kinks in it all the way across. So it really went to town on this cable. But it's all
Wow.
replaced now. They checked the ceiling or the roof to make sure there were no entry points. Oh, it looks good. We've had all the trees cut away from the house. So if it's coming from a tree onto the roof, it can't hopefully do that now. So
Wow.
I'm hoping that's fixed the problem. But if it is rats, they're not going to be here much longer. So they can live out anywhere, but not in my roof.
That's awesome.
Right. You don't want them there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, is that me? I'm getting feedback.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I think it's me. I think my air conditioning just kicked in.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, it's we've been dealing with a heat wave here. It was like 97 degrees yesterday, which might as well be 140 degrees for Montana. It was so hot. Oh my gosh, it's getting hard to get away from. It's crazy. But yeah, looking forward to a nice little cloud just rolled in. It got down to a reasonable 80 degrees, which that used to be very hot here. So I can't believe I'm happy to see 80 right now. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's winter here and I am freezing. And normally I've always been a winter baby, always loved winter. But I guess I've got a lot less layers now and I'm really feeling the cold. So bring on summer. I want the heat. So happy to swap you guys.
I would love to swap weather with you right now.
Yeah, I'm ready for fall.
Yeah, absolutely. It is so
Yeah.
freaking hot. It's crazy. Well, that's awesome. You got any plans for next week? Anything fun coming up?
Oh, goodness. No, just work. I've got a lot of work to catch up on because had no internet for 4 days. So
Right?
yeah, pretty much working. And yeah, I think next week we've got a concert. I'm going with the girls, so that'll be really nice. So something to look forward to anyway.
Oh, nice. Who are you seeing?
Angus and Julia Stone. Do you know them?
I don't know them.
I don't know if they're Aussie or not, but it's a nice little group.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I love it.
Guys in the chat, put it in there and let us know if you've heard of those guys. I've never heard of them, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Very laid back kind of music. They sound like, I think they're on drugs or something, but they're pretty cool. I love them.
Well, I mean, technically sugar's a drug, I think. So I think most people are on some kind of drug. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. I finally got the garage cleaned out, so I'll finally have a gym put in there by, I'd say, the end of next week. I'll finally be squared away, so that'll be fun. Finally getting that done. Looking forward to that, and starting to catch up a little bit on work. So I think we'll be able to do some more video, or I'll be able to get some more videos out here shortly. Finally have my head back in the game. How are you feeling, Michael? Is some of your fluid retention getting better?
Yeah, I dropped like 15 pounds this week in fluid, so I'm happy about that.
Nice.
Oh, fantastic.
Had a doctor come out. She came out Thursday and saw me. She put me on 14 days of this new water pill she wants me to try. It's only a short term, though. So hopefully I'll get that maybe Monday or Tuesday, and I'll try that for 14 days and see what that does for me.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Well, I can't wait to see how that does for you. I know me and Michael were talking just a little bit before we came on here, and we both accidentally started to fast at the same time. I'm doing
Yep.
another 7-day fast, and he started his yesterday too. So,
Yep.
Okay, so I guess that means I don't post any photos of my smoker today because I plan to buy a nice Scotch roast, and I was
Well-
no photos. I'll post it next week for you.
well, that brings
doesn't
up,
bother me.
yeah, and that brings up, our topic today is carnivore restrictive or freeing, and realistically, it ain't gonna hurt me because, I got to feed mom,
Right.
every day while I'm fasting, and then we'll go out on Thursdays. The guys have a company breakfast, and I have to go to that while watch them eat their French toast and pancakes and hash browns and Western omelets covered in ketchup and Tabasco, all the
Biscuits
things
and
I used
gravy.
to,
Yep.
biscuits and gravy, cinnamon rolls, all those things I used to love, and it doesn't faze me now. So I mean, that was kind of a thing the other week because I mean Thursdays I'm usually 4 to 5 days into a fast, and even then it's like not a big deal now. And so that brings up a great point. Put in the chat, if you guys, what is your take on carnivore? Do you think it's restrictive, too restrictive, freeing? What's your guys' take? Because that is the topic of today. Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously I think, what kind of was spawning this question is I had a few friends ask me how to start carnivore. And I was, giving them, the basics of it, how to get started. And then one of them said, "What are you eating right now? What's a day of eating look like?" And I was like, man, I don't want to tell them, because if I was to tell them right now how I eat, they would think I'm crazy. They would think I'm so restricted that coming from, a sugar standard American diet addicted brain, they would think what I'm doing is impossible, And the fact that it's so easy is the testament for carnivore to me, that I didn't get this, like I didn't start out this strict. It evolved where this is the easiest path and the most, the thing that I like to do and I get the most out of, because right now I'm eating for 7 days and then I'm fasting for 7 days. And when I am eating, I'm eating a pound of meat and 54 egg yolks a day that I'm drinking raw, which sounds crazy, but man, is it healing and is it beneficial? It's like nobody's forcing me to do this. It takes no effort on my part. I literally look at it like I do an OMAD where I get to eat a pound of meat, and then I have 3 protein shakes, just like I would back in the days when I was like lifting. So I'm just taking a protein shake, which happens to be 18 eggs each time, 18 egg yolks. And that's the only way I look at it. So to me, it's not restricting, but boy, if you tell somebody that's just starting carnivore, and obviously nobody has to do that. Like that's just something that's optimal for me right now. It's not, nobody has to do that or start that way. It just happens to be what I'm quite enjoying right now. And it's, to me, the simplicity of it and the benefit from it is the most freeing thing and easy thing on the planet, So
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I just, Bella put a video up recently of Dr. Hampton going over my blood work, and I got 10 gold stars. Everything was really good. My markers were awesome. But the comments under it, people are just saying, you can eat some fruit and vegetables and still have those amazing benefits. And so I've responded to all of them. Yeah, look, it may work for some, but for me, I have those fruit and vegetables, and it starts the cravings, and it starts me spiraling out of control. If you can moderate your fruit and vegetables and you're feeling amazing, go for it. No one's telling you need to stop. But for me, that is going to make me spiral and end up back where I was. So for me, I need to abstain from those things. It's not restrictive. This is what I need to do. I'm enjoying what I'm eating, and I feel my best when I just have carnivore. So honestly, people need to work out what works for them. if you need to keep a few fruit and veg in your diet to keep it sustainable, well, it's better than putting processed foods and adding all this other stuff, and you feel amazing, go for it. But for those that want to stay strict or need to stay strict like me, give us your blessing. It's working. I'm feeling great. I've got the blood results. Dr. Hampton's given me a gold tick. So let me keep doing what I'm doing and just, you do you do me. But
That's right.
I definitely don't feel it restricting at all. This is the most freeing thing I've ever done. I have an off switch. I'm not constantly consumed by food anymore. I was consumed 24 hours a day. Eat a meal. I'd be wondering where my next meal was, because in an hour or two, I'd be hungry again. I'm craving, I don't have that anymore. I eat my food and then that off switch happens and I just get on with my life. When I start to feel a few tummy rumbles, could be hours, 8-10 hours later, then I'll think about having some meat. But it's not like, oh, I've got to eat. I'm going to chew my arm off if I don't eat in a hurry. I've got time and I've got the food in the fridge. It's quick and easy in the air fryer. Super simple. So that simplicity is what keeps me going.
And shopping so much easier.
Oh gosh.
Just removing all those choices. Yeah.
You don't have to worry no more about what you're making or planning stuff out. You just make whatever you usually have, and that's it. It's and that off switch is the thing that changes this whole thing for all of us. I'm just like Lindy. The thought of food would always be there, even if I just got done eating 15-20 minutes. The thought of, I knew if I had leftovers left, it's still sitting there. It was so good. It tasted so good. And that thought would always be there and make me want to go back and have a couple more bites. And now I don't think about food at all no more. It's amazing. The only thing that makes me want to eat now is breakfast. I eat in the morning, and I'll have, if I'm doing 2 meals a day, I'll have something in the evening, and that's it. I don't think about food at all no more.
100%. Well, and back to Lindy's point too, on people always feeling the need to tell you, oh, what you're doing is crazy. You can have fruit and vegetables too. The number one comment that I get from people is always, you're not losing weight because of carnivore. You're losing weight because you are not eating X, Y, and Z, and you're not having chips, and you're not eating as much, blah, blah, blah. No. And I mean, to me, it is the most ignorant response that you could possibly have, because what they're really saying is, 2 things. One, they're saying you must have never tried a diet before. It's like, I didn't make it 8 years, or 26 of those over 600 pounds without ever trying a calorie restrictive diet. Like, I mean, if it was that easy that you could just cut out those things and it wouldn't be the carnivore, it's that you're cutting out all this stuff and that you're not eating this many calories. If it was that easy, 74% of the planet wouldn't be obese or overweight, right? Like, that is such a tone deaf, ridiculous comment to say. And they don't even understand how they've been indoctrinated by the calorie in, calorie out, calorie deficit, thermodynamic hypothesis, horse crap, so that big food can get away with pretending like calories are all equal. That all nutrition is equal. It doesn't matter. Oh, you just got to limit how much you have. That's one thing. But the other thing, to Lindy's point, why people continue to lash out and go, you can have fruit, you can have vegetables. It's because these people are addicts like we were. And what you're doing is you're basically telling them that maybe their sugar fix that they're getting out of this stuff is not great for them, and that they might have to deal with their own, sugar addiction. And we all know that, I know for sure that sugar addiction was the worst addiction I had, way worse than tobacco or any of that crap, was the sugar addiction. So it's really funny that people get so threatened by carnivore, because if we're right, that means they have to stop being sugar addicts, and that sucks. I mean, we all were terrified of that, we all went through it.
Yeah. I kind of think that diets are not one size fits all. Like, for me, I've got to be strict. I have to abstain from all that. But other people may get away with it. They may have a good figure. They don't have to worry about it. They feel great. Well, congratulations to you. I'm so glad you found what works for you. what you do doesn't work for me. So I have to ramp it up and go extreme. But I love it. I love this simplicity. I love what I'm doing. I feel amazing. So why introduce things that are just going to make me spiral and go back to where I was? You know, I was restricted at 800 pounds. My life was restricted. I feel so free now. I have a car. I can get out and go for a drive. I can walk around the house, do my housework. I couldn't do any of that before. That was restrictive. So for me, Carnivore has given me my freedom. It has given me a second chance at life. And why do people want to sabotage that, me to sabotage that by eating fruit and veg when I know that it causes cravings and it's going to make me go backwards? So they're not helping by saying comments like that. So anyway,
sure.
my rant.
100%. Well, I mean,
agree.
yeah, for sure. And it
diets
definitely,
aren't a one size fits all. It's not like shoe. It's like shoes. We all wear different size shoes. Diets work the same way. It's everything's different for everybody. It's just like anything. No, nothing works for the same person.
yeah, I definitely think, I mean, well, of course. I mean, human beings are the most sophisticated, complicated living, created anything that's ever been discovered. So if you have 8 billion of them, surely there's not going to be a one size fits all. Surely there's going to be massive nuances with people. But there are some constants that we can look at. And one of them is that standard American diet is making everybody sick for sure, and that going away from the nutrition is making people sick for sure. And that if the calorie in hypothesis that's been preached as long as this diet culture has been a thing worked, then 74% of the planet wouldn't be obese or overweight. So the fact that people are still beating this dead horse and they're still indoctrinated by this stupid dogma to protect, the money, basically, all this propaganda that's been pushed out to protect big food and big pharma, it's pretty ridiculous, right? that
Yeah.
people are still believing that, and they're still saying that, and it's such a stretch for them. You got you got the calorie deficit dogma that's being pushed, but then you can look at the most obese population that's ever existed on the planet is right now, and sick, metabolically sick. But then you look at carnivores and the success they're having, and even ketogenic people, mostly, definitely in the carnivore sphere, and the amount of success that everybody's having. And they can actually look at the results of carnivore and argue against it all day long. Meanwhile, they look at the lack of results with the calorie restrictive hypothesis and they still fight for it, which shows you how addictive sugar is and how well the propaganda works, how well these people are being brainwashed. It's quite incredible. Let's see. Let's go to some starred comments here so we don't get too far behind. Chicken dinner, Todd, I listened to your latest video. 100% agree. A lot of the modern problems stem from folks not having true faith in higher power. I agree. Thank you so much. Appreciate you watching. That was a fun interview. Eating junk is restrictive. 100%. That's what I always say. One thing that kind of got it through to my head is that you in that 15 minutes of pleasure or whatever from eating whatever crap that you're eating causes you a lifetime of problems, and so we think that restricting that 15 minutes is of not having that whatever is the restricted part, and it's not. It's actually choosing to not be in bondage to these addictions. It's pretty crazy. Let's see.
Sugar and carbs are recreational drugs masquerading as food. Absolutely.
That's a well said. 100%.
Yeah.
Very well said. And people are waking up to it now. I really think everybody's seeing it now.
It's a restriction that gives us the freedom. Exactly. I love
100%.
that.
100%. You know, think of all the stuff, you know, that you get in return, right? It's a trade-off. You know, and it's all a lie anyways that you know, we're supposed to, you know, people are like, look at all the stuff that you can't eat. It's like there really isn't all the stuff. That's a lie. It's sugar. It's carbohydrates, simple
Right.
processed carbohydrates and sugar. That's it. It's one of three things that we get to eat. We get to eat protein, we get to eat fat, and we get to eat carbohydrates and sugar. And you're just cutting out 30% of it that's not essential, and it's caused so much sickness and disease and obesity, and just it's not. It's just because out of that very addictive drug, because there's a lot of money in it, they've made like 600,000 products out of it and painted them all pink and blue and purple and cute colors and plastered it that everybody thinks that they're giving all this up.
Yeah, but it's all basically, look at the ingredients, are all the same shit.
All same crap.
Yep.
Yeah. And our life shouldn't be focused on food. You know, we shouldn't be living to eat. We need to eat to live, just for survival. So, yeah, I do think all the crap they put in our foods is messing with our hormones, and that's what's causing the cravings, or I don't know, but it's stuffing something up upstairs. And yeah, once you remove all of that, it's that off switch happens, and you just feel so much more at peace.
So much more at peace. You think faster, you're more efficient. You know, you have more energy, you have more health, you don't have anxiety, you're not getting weighed down by everything, you know, just
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people realize how addicted they are to this stuff until they get off of it.
right.
Because I know
Yeah.
for me, I didn't realize it either. And I knew I ate, when I was eating the stuff that I shouldn't have. It's just, it doesn't click in your head until you get to the freeing part of it. And that thought is no longer there, is when you finally realize. And when I went through, 5+ weeks of withdrawal symptoms, that I couldn't believe that I was, having the sweats and the shakes and the chills and felt like shit, that was from what I was eating, to get that out of my body and be free from that. And that's when you finally realize. That's when it was for me, when I finally realized that I had a problem. Sure, the weight was a problem that I had, and I realized that, but I always thought that I could just, give it up without a problem, but it just didn't go away until you get it completely out of your system and you're free from it, and you're eating the stuff that you're supposed to be eating, and you're feeling the change.
100%. Yeah, it's almost like, you ever had a pain that you've had for a long time and then you heal it and it goes away finally,
And
the first time in 10 years, and you're like,
oh
that's
my
funny.
God.
I didn't even know it was hurting. Like you got so used to it that you forgot that it hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it goes away and you're like, man, why do I feel so good? It's not that I feel good, it's that I don't feel pain anymore. It's kind of like that. It's really crazy. Yeah. Yeah, freeing, especially grocery shopping made easy. That's a fact. That is a fact. It's so funny now. I mean, I buy right now. I'm buying like a bunch of eggs, and a brisket. It's like two things, and water, sparkling waters.
Yeah. Well, I get my eggs delivered, and then we just go up and grab a great big Scotch roast in the smoker. And we've got in the freezer, I've got all sorts of little steaks and things like that, for just if you want something different, chops and ribs, just for something different. But yeah, super easy. And we went to Costco a couple of weeks ago, and just walking into it, and people are coming out with trolleys full of donuts and soft drinks, bulk packs of everything. And they've got all the little kids, running around. They were just going crazy. And the parents were, snapping at the kids because they weren't behaving. And I'm just looking at that thinking that is so sad. I didn't see any meat in anybody's cart. So,
Right.
yeah, it's just all sugar.
Yeah,
It
they
was
don't
pretty
even know.
sad.
They don't even know the level of addiction that they're under, and those kids are going to get hooked on it.
Yeah.
For sure. Free at last, free at last. Amen to that.
Yep.
That is a fact.
I'm the same, Lindy. I can't eat the fruit and control myself. Yeah, some people just need to be, to abstain to get through. And those that can't, that can moderate their food, fantastic, congratulations. But you just have to find what works for you. So,
I seen a video this week. I think I came across it on Twitter about a guy saying how we used to only be able to get apples at a certain time of the year, and that would be, and then once they're gone for the year. And
yeah.
like say with oranges would only become in season at a certain time, and now we have them available all the time. So we're getting way too much of it, and I completely agree with that. I don't think the fruit and vegetables are bad for you. I don't agree with that. I think what's happened is the amount that we have access to and what they've done to them through the years by trying to make them bigger so they can make more money, making them grow faster, and all this other stuff that they did into fertilizers and the chemicals to keep the insects off of it is what screwed them up. And that's what we're ingesting it, and it's not good for us.
Yeah. If I was growing my own fruit and veg, which I'm hoping to do in the future, like I'm thinking, we may be moving in with my daughter because she's having issues with her sight, and she loves gardening. It's something we could do together. She loves her fruit and veg. Like she's tried carnivore, but she loves her fruit and veg. So if we had things growing on our property, I'd consider eating a few vegetables. Maybe have to see how I go. But if it's homegrown and you're just eating in season, I can't get too overboard because I'm not going to buy it from the supermarket. I'll just be eating it while it's on the plant. As soon as it's gone, that's it until next season. So it may be something I would consider down the track, but for now, I would never buy from the supermarket because that will just put me into that spiral. And yeah, you can buy it 24/7 these days. Everything's open 24/7. So I can't afford to go down that track. But I don't know. Something I was thinking about, but probably won't do anyway.
Right. Well, and I mean, I am conflicted. I really don't know what happened to fruits and vegetables. What I do know is that over the years, through botany and changing the seed of all the plants, that screwed it up tremendously. Plus, like you say, geologically, we were not meant to have berries and bananas and all the fruits and every season all year long and every type, right? It was much more limited, scattered around, and bits and pieces, and it was it wasn't a huge harvest of it all the time, right?
And not having access to everything that's from that you can only get in Europe or Africa or something. Here we have access to everything that's around the world.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And then also that we know for certain that they cross bred seeds to make them sweeter. They basically grew candy. They kept crossing seeds, and they knew from trial and error how to make the sweetest fruit. And so there's just extra fructose in that stuff, and it's just I don't believe that it's normal. I believe that we screwed up the soil, we screwed up the seed of the plants. Plus, we have just entirely too much access to all of it all year round. There's no resting period for the soil. There's no resting period in seasons for people. They can just eat it all day long, And I think I don't care if it's fructose or if it's sugar. If you have too much of it and you become insulin resistant, you're going to be on that insulin roller coaster, and eventually you're going to be a sugar addict if you're having it way too much absent of fiber. And then who even knows about what all the crossbreeding did to the oxalates that are making people so sick, That's basically, I look at it like ruminant animals are like our filter between the bad stuff that's growing now and us. Those cows take the hit with their 4 stomachs. They go and eat the crap, even if it's screwed up, and they filter it, and they take out the best things and put it in their meat, and they filter out the harmful things that we shouldn't be having, and they just take the nutrients, they put it in their meat. And that's why the meat is so safe. The ruminant animals are so safe because they're literally filtering out all that nonsense and all the excess garbage in there for us.
I do not understand why people think they need to tell you to eat fruits and vegetables when you're telling them that you're carnivore and you're not eating fruit and vegetables. Stop it. Yeah. Yeah, we're here sharing our stories, from 800 pounds, and we're losing weight and we're feeling amazing. They should be happy for us. Why have a go at us and say, oh, all the stuff that they say, they can be pretty nasty at times. And instead, they should just turn around and say, congratulations, great job that you found something that works for you. It's just, I don't know why people have to be nasty.
Yeah, they can't help it. They cover it in virtue signaling that they're trying to help you, right? But what it is when we were fatter, right? And then it made their bad decision seem less bad, right? Because they go, well,
at least I don't look like that guy.
Yeah, at least I don't have their problems. They're clearly what I'm doing must be working because I'm not that far off. And then when you come from from any dramatic weight loss or health change, it doesn't even have to be weight. It can be healing, something that's really difficult to get rid of, even type 2 diabetes, right? Like type 2 diabetes or, any of those things. If you change your diet and heal it, that is really hard for people that have type 2 diabetes and aren't healing it, because now you're kind of taking away their excuses not to eat sugar. And, it's so addictive, we keep talking about it, but it's so addictive that it always comes back to me when I think about people that tell me that sugar's not a drug. I think back to a story Sean Baker told us about cutting a man's leg off, amputating his leg for type 2 diabetes. He thanked him. Sean asked him if he would consider cutting out the sugar so that they could save his other leg and he wouldn't have to be back getting another one amputated. And he goes, oh no, I could never give up the sugar. So I mean, somebody that just came out from getting their leg cut off, and he's still at that point said, oh, I could never give up the sugar. Well, those people, are so addicted to the food that when you make an actual change and an effort and it actually improves your health and it takes away those things, people want to believe the lie that, well, no, it's just something I have now that I have to have. And so I have to take a medication, because they really they don't want to hear that it can be fixed with diet and not a pill. Everybody wants to hear that they just have to take their insulin. They have to take these pills. And if you threaten them with, actually, if you give up all the sugar and all the stuff that you love right now and you're so addicted to, you too can be free and healed. They really don't want to hear that. It's quite a threatening thing to them, All right.
I now feel sorry for others, and I used to be them only 7 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I constantly people watching. It's something I've done all my life, is watch people. And now when I do see people and might watch them eating, and I do see all my old behaviors in them, and it does make me feel very sorry for them. And I wish they would come to their side and not be so drawn or driven by the food. It's just everything revolves around food, and you're missing out on life just thinking about your stomach all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's even not even just about the stomach, but about your fix. You're thinking about how to
get your next one.
Yeah, get your next fix. How to get your fix your next depressed mood or anxiety or stress or whatever you want to deal with, or hunger or whatever they're using that for, because it happens to everybody, because all those things are the nonsense that makes you want to go feel better, right? That comes up, and that's right to Michael's point, is the mental part of this stuff that it's doing to our brain by screwing up our hormones, is pretty incredible too. People don't understand how much better they could feel and be able to think, because I was sitting here thinking, it's a lot to get through to people, because first you have to tell them they can't have stuff that they're addicted to and they really want, and they're kind of not, they're not in a good mental health state, most of the people that you're trying to tell that to either. They're not, their hormones are not functioning properly, and they're either going to be depressed or full of anxiety or something's going on with people most of the time when they really need to change their diet. So that's why it's so hard to wake people up sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Carnivore.
There we go.
I shop in my basement freezers. We don't have basements here, but I have a garage freezer, and yeah, that's nice and stocked, nice and full.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I look forward to your lives that help with the Sunday scaries. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So comfort eating is a real thing. Life happens. I've had a few, pretty bad few months. And that's how I used to cope. That's how, you just eat and it would take away the pain from my life. And now that that's gone now, and these things are happening in my life, sometimes I'm kind of drawn to that. It's like, oh, one thing's not going to hurt me. It'll just give me a little bit of comfort, a little bit of pleasure for a little bit. But geez, that starts that spiral again. Like those cravings come back and then you're constantly consumed by it. And you feel like crap and then you get the major guilt because, I've done so well and I let that weak moment derail me. And so then you're back on track again, and then it happens again. And that's where I've been in the last few months. It's coming home from Texas. That trip threw me for a sixer. And I'm back on track now. I'm doing really well. But it's just so easy when life happens for you to fall back into those old patterns because you think, it worked back then. It did free up your mind for a little bit. But then it just causes all those problems again. And yeah, I don't want to end up back there.
For sure. 100%.
My son called me a hypocrite. He's correct, of course. When I believed the lies, I thought I was being a good mum, teaching them to eat the poison veggies.
Right. I mean,
Well,
everybody, right?
Yeah, we knew no better, and our parents didn't know any better. Yeah, my mum hardly cooked meat at all. She hated it, so we ate a lot of vegetables. She'd cook steak for my dad because he loved it, but he'd have it with all sorts of weird things on it as well. But it's what she believed in. She was on a diet constantly. She had, I'm pretty sure she had lymphedema and lipedema, but back then it wasn't really well known. She was very small on top and had really large legs and hips and was constantly on a diet for that. Well, diet wasn't really going to help her too much with that. But that's all they knew. And so they thought they were doing the right thing. They thought they were doing the right thing by us as well. But, yeah, we know better now. And I wish I knew this a lot sooner so my girls would have be in a better position as well. But, yeah, just hopefully the next generation, it'll be better.
For sure. Does anyone know any carnivores who have gotten shingles, chicken pox as a baby, shingles at 8, 17, and now 63? I've also had Bell's palsy 2 times, which is the same dormant virus as chicken pox and shingles. Oddly enough, I'm not going to say who because I don't know that they'd want me to say it or not. I don't think they'd have a problem with it, but I do have a carnivore friend, very well known, that just went through shingles, strangely enough. So I don't know why that happens, but maybe it's akin to oxalate dumping or something, getting rid of the dormant virus,
Yeah.
Maybe so. I know that some people say when you're detoxing that you have to be healthy enough to kill all the virus and pass it or all the parasites and pass it because some parasites will lay eggs on when they die. So if you kill them, one parasite will lay like 6 more eggs and you'll have like 6 parasites grow in its place. So you have to be healthy enough that when you start killing them that you get them out of there. So maybe something like that. Maybe it goes through and kind of kicks it up to try to push it out or something. I don't know. It's very interesting.
But I don't think Carnivore makes us invincible. We still get sick. I mean, I've got a snotty nose and a bit of a sore throat because it's been freezing here, sitting in a cold room. But I don't think I would be as sick if I was on a sad diet. Like the symptoms are not as bad and I'll probably get over it a lot quicker. So it does make us stronger, but it's not going to make you 100% invincible. We're never going to get sick. We're never going to get this.
Right.
But I think we deal with being sick a lot better and it won't last as long.
Right. I was surprised to find there was sugar, dextrose, I think, and table salt. Yeah, I know. And it's so funny, right? Because I got lambasted by a commenter one time for pointing that out. And they were so mad because their argument was that it was just a little bit and it's just for an anti-caking agent. And I'm like, I don't care what it is. It's a substance that is 8 times more addictive than heroin, and they're putting it in our salt.
Right.
And it doesn't need to be in our salt.
No, or our meat or anything else they put it in that it shouldn't be in.
No, the amount.
No.
I mean, the verbal gymnastics that these people will do
Right.
to bend over backwards to defend companies putting something so addictive and so harmful in everything that it doesn't need to be in, but it all just has a good, innocent purpose. It just happens to be killing slowly 74% of the Earth's population, but no big deal. Nothing to see here. Let's go ahead and defend them putting that in there all the time. And it's crazy.
It's all these little bits that add up. You know, a little bit of sugar here, a little bit there, and then it becomes a huge amount when you're consuming it in every product you're eating.
Right, death by 1,000 cuts. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, what you discover in the grocery store now is ground beef and eggs are cheaper than junk foods. Oh, it's a win for us, so bring it on.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. But yeah, people can't afford to do carnivore.
Here's a stranger.
There he is. Hey, Mike.
I haven't seen Mike.
Hi.
I haven't seen Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Sorry. Once you cut out the snacks there, where savings come from, the cravings go after time for the most part. Absolutely. I mean, there's so many things. Not only that, but once you know, for me right now, it's never been cheaper to eat because I fast half the month, you know,
Right.
so I'm only eating half the time. And when I am eating, I bought a smoker that makes meat so good that even cheap cuts of meat are awesome. So, I mean, I've been eating like a $90 brisket, make it on a Sunday, and I'll buy a whole ton of eggs because I'm eating a whole lot of eggs right now. But I mean, my eggs cost me more than my meat does lately. And it's just super cheap. You know, it's just been super cheap. It's probably the cheapest I've ever eaten in my life because there's no energy drinks and sodas and coffees and, you know, desserts and candy bars and, you know, snacks and all this crap. There's none of it. So for sure.
Yeah. I'll put a disclaimer in there. You don't have to eat 56 eggs a day. Todd is doing it for a reason.
56 is crazy. I ate 54.
54. Oh, that's 54. Better. But we don't have to do that. You're doing it for a reason.
For sure.
You don't need to fast. I don't fast. I'm not a faster. I struggle to fast. But it works for these guys. They do amazingly on it. But for me, because I've had the lap band surgery, I can't eat enough, prime enough to be able to do the fasting. So I find it's a bit more, that to me, that's restrictive eating, you know, just it puts thoughts into my head. I need to have my food every day, but I do intermittent fast. So I only eat when I'm hungry. It could be 1 meal, sometimes 2 meals. Sometimes I can eat 3 meals. I take advantage of those days and do a bit of a prime, but then I might do a 24-hour fast. Like I don't, my eating is not ruled by the clock. I don't look at the clock when I eat. It's just when my tummy feels like I need something in it. I try and distract myself if that the craving or that tummy rumble's still there. I know I'm definitely hungry and I eat a full meal. I never snack. So that's how I sort of navigate the intermittent fasting. Why do you eat 54 eggs a day?
I eat 54 egg yolks a day. One, because I was just reading that comment. I'm not that crazy. One, I eat 54 egg yolks a day because I only eat half of the month. So every day that I eat, when I am eating them, it's really I'm eating for 2 days, right? So you can cut that in half. And so I'm actually trying to get to 72 egg yolks a day eventually, but I'm building up to it so that I can maintain 36 egg yolks on average a day while fasting half of the month, basically. And I'm doing that because eggs have DHEA in them, and DHEA is a precursor testosterone. And when I started carnivore, I had very low testosterone. I don't anymore, but I really enjoy the feeling that it gives you. It just gives you so much more energy. And I'm working out now, and it's helping me gain a lot of lean muscle. It's helping me get very strong. It's healing. It's very, very healing. Everything in a chicken yolk is built to grow a full living little being, a little brain, a little nervous system. And so everything in there is very, very nourishing. And so I'm doing that to get the building blocks so that when I do go on fast for 7 days the next week, when I go into autophagy and the autophagy boosts my growth hormones and my stem cells, those growth hormones and stem cells will have something to work with in the proper building blocks and hormones to work with to go repair tissue, which is all in the big picture, a plan to grow muscle and lean tissue, but also to heal my lymphatic system, because that is the longest thing that I'm still working with is compromised lymphatic system, which is working fantastically, by the way. So it really is working well. And I was going to say on that hand too, I really think that fasting is a skill that you can kind of learn. I think you have to know priming first, because I couldn't do the fasting if I didn't do the priming, which is why I do eat so many egg yolks before a fast, is because I need those building blocks. But if you can learn how to prime and you can learn how to fast and you can learn how to fast properly so that you're not screwing up your metabolism, I think it's a great tool to have, and I quite enjoy it because the healing benefits from it, and also just the simplicity. You know how nice it is this week to not have to cook a darn thing for myself, to not have to shop, to cook, to eat. It's just there. But because I did my job last week, eating everything I was supposed to, putting it down, I'm not going to have any metabolism problems. I'm not going to have any, slow metabolism. My brain's, not going to start shutting down on me. Like, if you do it right, it's quite the muscle to kind of build up, and I'm really enjoying it quite a lot. But you don't have to, so don't freak out. It's not a deal breaker by any means. It's just a tool.
No, yeah. I ate something off plan last night. It churned my belly. Yeah.
That'll do it for sure. Yeah, when we were in Texas, Lindy was there. She watched me do it. I got a Flying Dutchman at In-N-Out that had a lettuce. Flying Dutchman's just a burger patty with cheese, and then it was wrapped in lettuce. And I ate that stupid lettuce, and my right knee swelled up for like the next 5 days. I was like, oh my gosh. Chafee's right. The stupid lettuce trying to kill me.
I love veggies, but I will not eat any from America. All the soil is poison.
I can believe that for sure.
Yeah. I'm eating onions and mushrooms with my burgers, some avocado and salsa too. Good
Well, you
job.
rebel.
Yeah. He is.
Look,
So it's more keto.
Yeah, it sounds delicious. I love the sound of it. Back in the 50s and 60s, we only had a 4-ounce glass of juice. Nowadays, they drink 20 ounces or more in smoothies. Oh, yeah, and get refills.
Yeah.
Like where I'm at, you can go get orange juice in the morning, and they just bring you refills of orange juice all morning long, where at breakfast. It's crazy.
I think veg and fruit are fillers for days you have a bad hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just not meant to be consumed every day, 24/7. Like, it's just too much.
For sure.
I did Carnivore in June, gained weight and inflammation, so I went back to Carnivore July 1st. I've been feeling better.
Nice. Sometimes that's a good reminder for us, For sure.
Yeah. I have 3 older sisters, and it's killing me that they suffer so much but won't change. Yeah.
Right. It's hard. It's hard to get people to see it when they're smack dab into it, you know.
Yeah. That's something I struggle with at the moment. A lot of people see my transformation and they're happy for me, and they've got issues, and they talk about doing carnivore, but then they say, "Oh, but I wasn't 800 pounds, so I don't have the same problems as you." And I'm like, no, there's so many testimonials out there, people curing and healing so many conditions that they all have. But they just look at me and say, well, I'm not 800 pounds, so carnivore's not going to work for me. It's too restrictive. And it breaks my heart that they, offer to send them videos and they're just not interested.
Yeah.
But, all we can do is plant the seed, and one day they may ask us and say, hey, can you help me? And I'll be the first one to jump in there and help them on their journeys. Until then, just got to keep doing what we do and hope
Well,
they'll.
just be the example. I mean, the longer that we keep being healthy, lose weight, don't have heart attacks and cancer and all the things they say that are coming for us, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, like all those all those arguments and excuses fall away for them, you know, and then they'll get to where we were, where we're like, it's do or die time, you know, and they'll need an example for sure, and they're not going to care about the propaganda anymore when it comes to that day. They're going to be looking for something, you know.
Yeah. My partner, not overweight, but certainly has a sugar addiction. His GP has tagged him as a diabetic after some blood tests results. Yeah. Oh. A lot of people have diabetes now, and I don't know. They're quite happy to take the medication. They don't want to change their diet, or if
Change
they
what
do
they eat.
change their diet, the recommended diet is crap. The ones they're recommending for diabetics. Yeah, my daughter's type 1 diabetes, and they're like, eat as much as you like. You just dose it with insulin. If you have a
Right.
donut, just have more insulin. I'm like, no, don't have the donut. And she's
Right.
good. She doesn't eat the sugars, and she's pretty good with that. She is low carb, but the recommendations from the dietitians and stuff for her type 1 diabetes have all just said have more insulin.
For sure. I know. And I mean, that Ozempic, you know, it's just killing people. It ain't going to take long. And people are going to find out. It's just a death sentence, you know. It's just a little
Yeah.
bit slower, you know.
I just lost a good friend this week that I just talked to her 2 weeks ago, and she was telling me how good she was feeling, that she dropped 54 pounds, and her doctor was really happy with all her results. And Tuesday was her birthday. I messaged her for her birthday, and I never heard back from her. 2 days later, I get a message from her daughter saying she just found her mom dead on the floor, and she was taking Ozempic. I warned her about it. I tried to get her to take to go carnivore. I explained it all to her. I gave her links to all our channels, and she just wasn't ready to give up. And her doctors pushed Ozempic on her, and now she's no longer around. And she was feeling great. She was doing good. And I told her, I'm happy for you, but I warned her. I can show you my text messages from 2 weeks ago. I warned her. I said, please get off of it. I said, it's not good for you. And she's no longer here.
Sorry,
and she was only 53 years old.
Wow.
Oh God, my age.
It's a shame.
It's devastating. I began as carnivore, and for the last week went carnivore with the exception of a splash of coffee creamer. I feel a bit weak, not being able to give that up. My lymphedema just decreased a great deal. Yeah. In time, you may give it up. It gets easier. But I've got a coffee this morning. I don't normally have coffee when I'm at home. I normally use it as a treat when I go out, but I needed it today. I just thought I need a little bit of spoiling, and if I'm going to have a cheat, a coffee is my cheat. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
and like so much better than our old off the rail cheats.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's diluted, so it's a very weak coffee because I just use the same pot and I do it like 3 times and top it up with hot water because it's a pretty big mug. Yeah, so it's a weak coffee. I don't tell anyone. If I'm asked, I just say I've cut out all the sugar and most carbs and cut coffee down with heaps and drinking more water. They seem happy
Yep.
with that. Yeah.
Best way to do it.
For sure. Ooh, here's a good question. Can carnivore help with addictions such as smoking and drinking? I think 100% it can. I think I think most addictive personalities, and I had a terrible addictive personality. I was addicted to everything. Anything that I liked, I would push it to a point of compulsive addiction for sure. And I was addicted to nicotine. I was addicted to caffeine. I was addicted to sugar. I was addicted to gambling. I was addicted to so many things. And when I got on carnivore and the anxiety and the depression went away and the hormones balanced out, so did my addictive personality. I don't have addictive personality anymore. Not at all. I quit. I didn't even want to quit. I wasn't even planning on quitting. And I quit a 26-year nicotine habit cold turkey overnight, and I haven't looked back since. And that was last October 26th, and haven't touched it since, and did not miss it. And by the way, out of all the things that I was addicted to, by far, sugar was the worst one. Sugar was the hardest one to quit. Once I found out I was addicted to it, that it was a real thing, none of it was near as hard as quitting sugar. Everything else was easy compared to sugar. So, but yeah, it absolutely can. What do you guys think?
I think we've replaced addiction with an addiction for feeling optimal. I want to feel great. I want to live my life, have a fantastic life. So I see myself at, 100 years old, still playing with hopefully grandchildren, or, out there in the garden playing with flowers, my daughter, or something like that. So, yeah, my new addiction is living the best life. And I know I can do that by eating carnivore. So when I go off plan, I know I don't feel optimal. So that keeps me on track. So just a better addiction in a way.
For sure. Well, I mean,
it's the best addiction to have is.
Well,
yeah,
it is. And that's also that's a good point about that I've always said is stupid about restrictive diets, because Jordan Peterson always talks about it. You can't take something so big out of your life to create a vacuum or a hole and not replace something with it, And so calorie restrictive diets is based off of the precedent that you're just going to create this giant restrictive hole all the time and never fill it with anything, right? And it's just going to stay there, and you're just going to live with it, white knuckle it, and just put up with it forever. And if you don't do that, that's one of the reasons, if you don't do that, you're, you're slothful, you're weak, whatever. And you're responsible for all these things that happen to your health. And it's just, that's what's so stupid. It's so built to create an addictive cycle. That calorie, restrictive hypothesis is just so built to perpetrate that. It's so crazy. And it really is silly. Dr. Nelson, consistency, fall 7 times, get up 8. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And we all have cheat days, or like fall off the wagon, if you like. But the trick is not to let it spiral out of control. If you do have a cheat, just pick yourself up again, dust yourself off, and back straight on the wagon.
Get back on.
And I think each time you do have, you do fall, and you keep doing that, you will just get stronger and stronger and stronger until those cheats become less and less. So yeah, just don't beat yourself up about it. Back on board.
Yeah, no, well, it's, I don't know. I'm going back to Jordan Peterson. He always says that, this is always having something to aim at, and it's just a process. There is no destination. It's just a process. So there's going to be ups and downs in it, as long as you just keep pushing forward. And, from a Christian point of view, that's what I love about understanding what repentance means. It's not just saying you're sorry. It's turning from that thing and heading in the right directions. It's looking toward your goal, right? It's looking toward, and repentance in the Bible talks about turning from sin, looking to Jesus, and following righteousness. Well, there's a dietary sense of that too, where the old way was you would look at what you couldn't eat, where, carnivore is like, you look at now what your new life is, and this is your new goal. You're just going in that process of nutrition. You're just putting nourishment in your body, and you're staying away from all the crap. It's just a different thing. It's not a calorie restriction. It's just focusing on what is good that you're going to put in your body. I don't know. There's definitely a parallel to that to me. Oh, Mike, I hear that, Lindy. I lapsed for 3 months, and now I'm back gained almost 20 pounds. Good news is, Mike, you know how to lose it.
Yep.
Exactly. You
You're
know
back up.
this is working for you, and you're back on track, and you'll get there. You'll lose those 20 pounds very quickly.
For sure, 100%.
I'm having a very invasive surgery in September. Any advice? I'll be in the hospital for 3 to 4 days. Good question. I'm actually having surgery in February, and I'd like to know the same thing. But
I like
that's
what
definitely.
I like what
Go on.
Gino did in the SBG, where he primed and then fasted. Because
Yeah.
that, man, fasting's so healing, and it spawns growth hormones and stem cells. I think if I was doing it, I would do priming. Priming real good, and then just before it, I think I'd do a fairly long fast, like at least 7 days, and if you can do fasts, if you're good at them. But I think I would want to go in a fasted state, so I had the most stem cells and growth hormones.
Yeah, definitely ask for the saline without glucose. I think they put a lot of sugars and stuff in the saline, so in the drip. So ask for one without that, because that's going to throw you off as well. And if you've got someone that can bring you carnivore meals, and try not to eat the hospital food. I'm definitely going to have my husband smoke up a brisket or something and then bring that in for me, and I'll be eating what he brings in for me. So just keep away from the sugar, because that's not going to help with healing, and also increase the inflammation if you're having sugar. So do stay away from that. Just try and be as strict as you can. But I think Laura Spath and her husband, they both had skin removal surgery, and they did a lot of fasting before surgery. And I don't know if I can do that. I will try, but definitely staying as strict as I can. And yeah, stay away from the temptations for sure.
For sure. Regarding the commentary on fruit being so sweet, a family member offered me some cherries, saying how it's just fruit, therefore it's good for you. I laughed, and they were candy sweet. Total regret. Yeah. Absolutely, they are. Isn't it crazy how when you've been on carnivore for a while and you go back to something that you never remembered even remotely being sweet, and then you try it or whatever, it feels like you just had a mouthful of syrup.
Yeah. And I hate it when people say, oh, it's just one. It's not going to hurt you. You need to live a little. Well, I am living now. This is my life. And I'm loving my life.
I wasn't living before, and I was eating all that stuff before. I was miserable.
And I can't eat just one biscuit or one cherry.
Right.
I need the whole freaking bag or the whole packet. Give it all to me, because I just want that craving is so powerful, and you can't stop it. And you just mind keeps thinking until that's gone. So
especially if you see
that's not freedom. That's just being chained to this food and addiction. So I don't need it. And if people can stop at one biscuit or one cherry, great. They can moderate, fantastic, do it. But for others, don't think we're all the same. Some people need to abstain from that stuff. So yeah. But at least it's a good indicator. I mean, you tried it, it didn't work, you felt bad afterwards, but you'll know for next time. So it's all a learning curve as well. So don't beat yourself up about it. Just take it as a lesson, and
and
that will help you in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And I always just replace that when people say live a little. I always replace that with like live a little and have some heroin, or live a little and have some meth. Like I know how hard it was to get free from it the first time. Why in the crap would I want to hop back on that stupid thing and start over when I finally got through the worst part of it? It's just like, I think of it like, you ever had a dislocated, joint or something, and they had to pop it back in? It's like, would you want to dislocate it on purpose just because you can pop it back in? Like, you don't want to go through that. I feel like I had a reset here that was painful to get through the sugar addiction, and then people are like, well, you got to live a little and have a little bit more of your addiction back or whatever. And I don't even know, I don't even know what addiction means anymore. It's just you get so hooked on this stuff that we've all been doing for so long because it messes with your brain chemistry. And until you get that settled, I mean, your brain just screams out like a little addict, just like a little monster. Like people don't understand that when your brain gets that hooked on it, you want sugar like you want your next breath, like it does not shut up. It's tormenting. It's loud. It's, for some people, it's real bad.
It is.
And so
Yeah.
why play with that? Like it's just not worth it. Shingles is also triggered by stress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
That could
Well,
be
there you
it.
go.
No stressing.
And as I said, life happens, you get stressful situations. So I think being carnivore definitely helps. You may get shingles, but you won't suffer as badly with the symptoms. Absolutely agree. It makes us stronger. If I feel a bit scratchy in the throat, I put a dose of colloidal silver in my water. I don't know what that is.
It's made from silver.
Yeah.
Okay.
I make some.
Nice.
Thank you, Todd and Lindy. That makes sense. I wonder, after being a carnivore for a year and then keto for 1 month, June, back carnivore since July 1st, oxalate dumping maybe triggered it and woke it up.
Could have.
Yeah. Look, we'll never know. Just, day at a time. Just keep doing what you're doing and feeling great. So,
yeah.
Keep it
For
simple.
Sure. Yeah, and I don't know, every time I have a rash or an oxalate dump or just a weird day that comes out of nowhere, I just assume something's being pushed out that's going to be, I'm better off for it, because at this point, what else is it, You need to keep about 80 hens to keep up with that supply for sure. I'm going to need another 50 chickens, I think, here pretty soon. But
how many chickens do you have, Todd?
What did I get? I bought 30 of them. Of them. And then I think 3 of them died for whatever reason. They just dropped dead. And so I think we're down to 27, but my sister has like 30 as well, which some of hers died. So I think we have about 50 right now. Quite a few of them. And they're egg making machines for sure. But yeah, I still supplement mostly with the Wilcox eggs from Costco I like. So I don't mind those at all.
I'm down to a size 40 from 48 to 50 a year ago and down to 249/50. I want to get below 200. I'll be 65 in September. That's great, Grey Wolf. Awesome job.
Congrats, Sam.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. Yeah, and I mean, just keep going, right? It's like, what else are we going to do? It's so funny when, because I get all these comments and questions. They're like, how long did it take you to lose 300 pounds? I'll be like, it's been about 20 months. And they're like, how long did it take you to lose your first 100? I only have about 100 to lose. And I'm like, what else are you going to do in that 20 months anyways? Like if you have weight to lose and your health is bad and whatever your reason is for trying to get healthier, if you're not doing something to get healthier, then you're just going to get sicker. You're just going to keep going backwards. And so it's kind of funny how, and I'm laughing at myself because I remember doing this all the time too. And part of this is the restrictive diet problem though, because you go, okay, how long? People don't put this together, but I totally relate to this because people go, how long is it going to take me to lose X, Y? People go, I need to lose 100 pounds. How long would it take me to lose 100 pounds? And somebody will say, realistically, maybe a year and a half. You might be able to do it in a year. Well, immediately they want to get it done as quick as possible. And part of that is because we have this ADD brain that's all screwed up with the hormones and everything and the sugar, But I think a bigger part of it is we've all been on so many calorie restrictive diets that we know that we cannot actually keep them up for very long. So we're trying to do it in the shortest amount of time because for some reason in our head, we think that maintaining is going to be easier than losing, right? We think that.
But what happens? Yeah, what happens when you lose that 100 pounds? Are you going to go back to how you were eating before? Are you going to continue eating this way and doing carnivore? So
Right.
that's the thing. We're not doing this as a diet. This is a lifestyle. And when we get to our goal weights, whatever that happens to be, like I don't have a goal weight. I'm just going to. I don't have a name because this is how I eat forever now. You just got to work out what are you going to do afterwards. Continue eating meat. You don't change. You don't go back to eating crap. Otherwise you're just going to end up in the same place again.
For sure. And that's what's funny though. But I remember doing this too, going, well, if I could just do this, I could do this for 6 months. I could work really hard. I'll dump this 150 pounds or whatever. And then I can relax a little bit and just eat moderate. And you think that you're going to maintain, and it never works. It's because you always just go off the rails. Like, everything comes out from under you because in order to do all that calorie restricting, it was all willpower. You never fixed any of the problems. You're still an addict. And you also tanked your metabolism when you're doing it. So then when you start eating, it just flips the switch back on and your brain, like, it's just gasping for air, like you just held your breath at the bottom of the ocean or something. So you end up overeating all this stuff and your body saves all of it because it went, I don't know what kind of terrible 6-month famine we just went through, but our environment, there's no food available. We almost starved to death. This is terrible. And it stores all that fat. It does it. I've done that so many times in my life to an extreme extent. I mean, for like 200 and 300 pounds before, I've had that swing where I did something crazy for 17 months, white knuckled it, and then watched it all come back so fast. Should have set a record for Guinness of how fast I put back on 300 pounds. It is incredible, and it does not work, So it's like, we got to stop doing this. We have to take it off quick because you have to realize that you're not going to white knuckle this thing. You're going to do this one step at a time until you're free. And then this is a new lifestyle. And then the weight's going to come off when the weight comes off. But whether it comes off in 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 10 years, whatever, you're better off by not being an addict and still being victim or, slave to the sugar and the bad lifestyle that's keeps, kind of plummeting you into the depths of hell that we're dealing with right now, And so I would definitely look at it more that way.
And like someone like me, I've got 50 years worth of healing to do. So, I may lose a little bit of weight, but my body, I need to heal and my focus needs to be on healing. And the weight's just going to be the cherry on top. It'll come off as my body feeling safe and ready and I'm feeling healthier. And so there's no rush to get to my optimal ideal weight or anything like that, as long as I'm healing and feeling amazing. So I think prioritize healing over weight loss for a start. I have lymphedema and have dealt with recurrent cellulitis that lands me in the hospital. I'm thrilled to report that since being keto, since 4th of the 15th, so 15th of March, is it? May? April, I now carnivore. I've only had one very mild recurrence. That's awesome.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah.
It's great.
So good.
And the lymphedema diet, if you go to like the Australian website, it's all vegetables and grains and a terrible diet. Carnivore definitely improves all of my symptoms. Yeah, I feel amazing on it.
I've had a few slight that I really thought was going to really turn into a really bad infection because I would get a couple open wounds since I started carnivore now, but not like they used to be.
Wow, that's awesome.
Okay, so before that, I don't know how many times I would have to go into the hospital to get IVs with my cellulitis. It would get so bad, and then your leg swells up, and it takes forever to go back down, and sometimes it doesn't even go back down after getting the infection and all that. It's not fun. So, but this is your best bet.
That's incredible.
And I've been dealing with this for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I eat all types of meat, but I feel the best when eating beef.
100%.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, chicken and pork make me feel a bit queasy. I just don't like it. And I've had lamb a few times, but I find it a bit heavy sometimes, very dry. But yeah, maybe because I don't cook it very well. But beef is my favorite.
But now you got your smoker. Make it in there.
You should. That'd be
I
awesome.
should try. I should try actually. Yeah.
I did. That's what we should do next week when I'm not fasting. I'm gonna smoke a prime rib because people want me to make a video of smoking a prime rib. I got a couple requests, and you should smoke some lamb or whatever. You know.
We should do an online one and we can smoke something together.
Yeah.
It sounds
Be
a bit
fun.
weird, but yeah. I'll buy something.
We're talking about meat, people. Get your minds out of the gutter.
Hey, Mike, Roch here. Big fan from Sweden. I did Carnivore and my LDL spiked.
That can happen, but it's
Mine
okay.
spiked too.
It's
I got my blood test tomorrow, and I'm going to see what the numbers are now.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the numbers.
Ooh.
Not worried about them at all.
No worries. You know, it's like
the numbers. Those numbers go up, but you know what came down since I did this? My weight.
Right.
And that's what's causing more problems than my cholesterol levels. So I'm not worried about it at all. And I told my doctor this.
Right. Because isn't it? I was just trying to think of what, the reason why I paused there is I was trying to think of the acronyms that Dr. Hampton used, Lindy, on your video, but I believe it's the lipids, the free lipids in your blood is all that really matters, which yours was really low, right? Lindy, it was like 0.7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's actually the lipid test because LDL and the good and bad cholesterol doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot unless you end up having a bunch of, those free lipids in your blood or whatever, because those are what can clog stuff up. But when you become fat adapted, it burns those out of your blood.
And then there's one that's supposed to go up when you got ketones in your body.
Yeah.
Which one's that?
I think it's the, which one is it? I think it's the good cholesterol.
Right.
I don't remember because I don't care about cholesterol.
I'm not worried about it either.
I'm not in the foggiest worried about it at all. It's just a made up thing to get everybody worried about so they can sell us drugs that, that have worse side effects than anything. It's like, it's crazy.
Well, my daughter had a bunch of tests. She had a CAC test and she got a 0, which is fantastic. Yet he wanted to put her on a statin. I'm like, why? She's got no calcification or anything in her arteries. Everything's looking good.
Right.
Why would she need a statin? Anyway, she decided not to go ahead with it. She just threw the script in the bin, which was good. But yeah, I couldn't understand why she would need one.
Yeah, I mean, because it makes money. That's why they get a kickback for that. That's why.
Interesting how humans survived for thousands of years before we ever knew there were blood tests. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or blood types.
Yeah. And look at how they lowered the cholesterol numbers back in the 80s because they came out with meds to lower them down.
Right.
We used to be normal was 300. And then they dropped it down to 200. Now they want everybody, in the hundreds now?
Right. Because they're trying to kill us. They probably, if they were really being honest, they probably know that when you get below a certain amount, you're a little bit weaker, you're a little bit stupider, you're a little bit more easily manipulated.
Controllable.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Carnivore is my lifestyle. When I reach my goal, I may eat an avocado or some cheese occasionally as my body tolerates it. It's a beautiful plan. I love it. Great job, Susan.
For sure.
I just tried the 2-ingredient carnivore flatbread, and I'm happy to say it was actually awesome. Okay, awesome. Don't know that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Bella made it. Has a video on it, and I saw it too. It looks delicious. I'm so worried. Not worried, but I just don't want to introduce bread things back into my life because I used to love bread things, and then because that's gonna. I'm just so happy with the simplicity of it. I don't want to crave hamburgers and lunch meats now and cheesesteaks and all those things because they come with other things.
What's the 2 ingredients?
I forget what. Put it in the chat. I think it's egg whites and something else. Egg whites and maybe.
Well, you got a lot of egg whites over there, Todd.
I do. I have mountains of egg whites.
Well, you could make some for your mum. Maybe your mum would like it.
That's true. I could give that a try.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Mom,
cottage cheese and 2 eggs.
Cottage cheese and 2 eggs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've made Bella's pancakes twice, and more so for the family, just because they like a bit of a treat. So a Sunday morning, I used to make pancakes for them. So I did make Bella's pancakes. I absolutely love them, but it's not something I want to do a lot.
Right.
Yeah. But a Sunday morning breakfast, if they want something special, definitely something to consider. I'm so happy for you guys. If any of you are believers, please pray for the teens. My teen son is addicted to the sweets. He sneaks, and I just met one of his friends, 15-year-old, and around 300 pounds.
Yeah, for sure. No, and to me, this looks like a movement. I think there's seasons for things, and I think one thing that's happening right now is God shining a light on the corruption in the food that's been killing us and addicting us. So I think that pretty soon we're going to see a shift in the youth too, that are going to really start pushing back against the sugar, because they're going to start seeing. I mean, right now our kids are eating all this stupid sugar and energy drinks, and it's all marketed to them. It's marketed that energy drinks are cool and all this stuff, and it's edgy and all these things, and really all they're doing is sitting inside playing video games and drinking energy drinks until they get sick, and it's hurting them. So I think there's going to be a turnaround, because that can only happen so long before people start waking up and being sick and depressed and full of anxiety and stuck in your room and being awkward is not going to stay very marketable for much longer. And everybody's starting to see that. So I'm praying that the kids kind of, they turn that around and they want to go out, have a life again, get out of the house.
Yeah. I agree with Lindy, with healing first and the weight will follow. I have 50 years of bad eating to fix. Yeah.
For sure.
But we can do it. We can do it.
Yeah, weight is not inherently tied to poor health. Weight is a parallel symptom. Weight's not causing the poor health. Your body really doesn't care until it gets healthy enough to get rid of it, for sure.
Yeah. I now sleep through the night and don't even notice if I still have restless legs. I haven't slept through the night since 2021. That's awesome. Well done.
That is great. Congratulations.
I love all these little non-scale victories, just feeling optimal and all these pains suddenly disappearing. And it's really good. Congratulations.
Sure. No, that's great to see. And this is, it's these reports that are going to take this from being just anecdotal to making it something people have to contend with, right? The people that don't want to, the people that want to sweep it under the rug and just pretend like there's nothing to see here. These reports and these people's results, your results, the fruit that this diet and lifestyle bears is going to have to, people are going to have to take notice and contend with it, which is not, it's not going to bode well for the food companies and the drug companies, for sure. So I look forward to that day, for sure.
Former vegan, and I've been trying carnivore for 3 months. I haven't made any beef or steaks that taste good to me. Where can I go to learn how to make steaks, burgers, or something else? Well, when Todd gets his, stuff together, he'll be doing some more cooking videos, hopefully. But
for sure. I'm close. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, Chris Cooking Nashville, does he do steaks or just other recipes?
He does steaks. I mean, steaks are what I would say you should definitely practice with. Steaks and burgers, and one of the easiest ways to start is with a pellet grill with thermometers, because it's just so easy, and makes them taste so good. Like a pellet smoker. That's one way easy, but a cheaper, easy way is air fryers with meat thermometers too. Those work fantastically too, and the super easy cleanup. And you just really have to play with it, but you have to pay attention. But Chris Cooking Nashville does pretty good. The Meat Church guy on YouTube, he's not carnivore, but he does all things meat. So you can use his information for cooking times on things, but you'll have to not follow his directions on seasonings and rubs and barbecue sauces and all that. But you can use his stuff for cooking times, but you'll get really good at steak in a very short period of time. And then it'll ruin all steakhouses for you because you'll never be able to go out again because you'll make way better.
Save a lot of money though. So
do save a lot of money because it'll infuriate you to go out and pay $80 for a bad steak when you could have made one 10 times better at home for $25, So.
Yeah. I just do mine in the air fryer. Very, very basic. I basically take it out of the freezer in the air fryer and eat. I don't let it rest or anything. And I was happy with
Todd's
that.
blood pressure just went up.
I did. I was going blah, blah, blah. I'm not
hang on. Until I went to Texas. And then I had Ashley from Carnivore Brothers and Uzi Carnivore cook the most magnificent steaks. And now I can't eat my air fried frozen steaks anymore. Like I've been spoiled. So if you haven't been spoiled by a fantastic steak, you're pretty good with an air fryer.
I was so happy when she got spoiled because you don't know, for like a year before this, she was arguing with me about steak. And I was like, what did that poor steak ever do to you to deserve a death like that? Like you're just butchering it. You're being so disrespectful to a perfectly good steak. And now she understands. Because she thought that I was crazy for the longest time.
Yeah, it's a lot of time. We rest it and do all this stuff to it. And I'm like, but why? It's a steak. You just eat it and it's done. It's over with. But now that I've had that steak and know how good it is, I've got a smoker now. I bought the smoker so I can treat my meat nicely. And, and I enjoy it so much more. Yeah, for sure. I understand now. But when you haven't had that nice steak, an air fryer, I was content with that until I had the guys
I'm not going with the smoker. I'm not trying the smoker meat yet until I don't even have a place to put it. So
Michael, next summer when you're out of the house, you're coming to Montana and I'm smoking you some ribeye.
Then you're gonna have to come back with me to put a patio on this place so I can have a smoker, man.
I know. That would be a deal because you're gonna be hooked for sure. You're gonna be hooked.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, I know.
I will probably start a channel. I've had cancer 4 times and I found that it was probably all from lack of iodine and fat. Thank you to God for leading me to you all and Carnivore. Well, let us know if you start a channel because we'll definitely follow you and promote you here.
For sure.
That's awesome that you found this way of eating. There's a lot of people that are, just doing so much better with their cancer diagnosis since being carnivore. So I'm so glad you found it.
For sure.
Cooking videos would be great. Yes. Very helpful. There you go, Todd. Challenge.
I'm on it. The first one I'm going to show you is my 18 egg yolk shake. And it only takes about 10 minutes to crack all the eggs and about 10 seconds to drink, but it's one ingredient. Not much for
super
cooking.
Easy.
Super easy.
Yeah.
No, we'll start. Maybe we should do a series of all the different ways to cook steak because there is a bunch of ways you can make really awesome steak. You can air fry steak, you can sous vide steak, you can reverse sear steaks, you can smoke and reverse sear steaks, you can use the auto wild, the salamanders. I mean, you're gonna have all sorts of fun with steak. So maybe we'll do that, and then we'll go to the tougher meats and some slow cooking options like sous vide, slow cooker, pressure cooker, smoker, those type of things, ovens. We could do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I haven't invested in a sous vide yet. It's definitely on my wish list for one day.
Why do you hybrid the sous vide with the smoker.
With
Smoker.
the smoker. Yeah, I'll try to get one before you guys come over. Yeah,
There we go.
and then you can teach me. But yeah, we should definitely, if you do some smoking videos, maybe we can collab and do a smoking video together.
For sure.
And compare notes. I think it'll be awesome. And it teaches me as well, because I'm very practical. I need to see it and do it rather than just be told.
I finally got the smoker worked out because I was going off all these Texas's temperatures, and they're at sea level, and I'm at almost 5,000 feet in elevation, and that turned out to be a whole problem for the temperatures. But I finally got that worked out. I no longer have to bury meat in the backyard when I'm done smoking it. I stopped turning it into fossil fuel. We're okay now. I'm much better. Yeah, there are so many people that if they would have saw what I did to some perfectly good brisket, they would have strung me up for sure. But I got that worked out. It was 8.5 degrees difference. I was overcooking it by 8.5 degrees, and it was a real problem. And that was due to the elevation. So for anybody that's wondering, if you're having a smoking problem, you take all those times that all the Southern boys that do it and just figure that they're roughly at about sea level, and then you look up a boiling point calculator, and it'll tell you for your elevation what temperature water boils, and you adjust it by that temperature. And mine was 8 degrees, about 8.8 degrees to be exact, off from that temperature. And so I had to back it up 8.8 degrees, and that was the game changer. That made perfect brisket. So incredible. I don't know whose brisket's life I just saved there.
Silly question, because that's me and my meat. I'm not very good with cooking it. Can I just pull something out of the freezer and put it in the smoker? Like, obviously I can't put the thermometer in it if it's frozen.
I wouldn't.
Is it best to thaw it out overnight, or is it just best to put fresh meat in and not use?
There's so many things you can do. There's so many things you can do, and it depends on what the piece of meat is. Like, you would never put a very tender top cut of meat in frozen. That would be a tragedy, in my opinion. Because what's going to happen?
I was thinking more so some beef ribs or something. Like, if I've got some beef ribs in the freezer.
Yeah, those all those cook too quickly. So no.
Okay.
Because that would be a problem. And you want good texture on them because you don't have enough time. So whenever you put something in frozen, it's moisture. You have a bunch of moisture trapped in that piece of meat. The moisture is not your friend if you want a good texture and a good bark or a good sear. You got to get that moisture off there. The best thing you can do is you take that out, you let it thaw, and then you salt brand it, and you put it on a cooling rack, and you put it back in the fridge, and you leave it for like a day, 24 hours. You let the air get to it. You let it pull out the water out of it, right? Because you don't want water in your steak. You want them juicy, but you don't want it water juicy. You want it rendered white tissue fat juicy. So the juice that you're looking for in a steak is not water. The water is going to steam your meat. Nobody likes steamed meat. That's gross. And it keeps you from having a good sear and a good texture and a good bark if you're smoking it. So you want all that off there. So you want to brine it. Plus, brining does pull salt into the meat and helps it hold those juices and not evaporate so much, and to hold those juices in the meat. So that's good. So you can do that. And if you really want to up your game and you want to get crazy with it, you can inject your like briskets and stuff. And so you get like a syringe, like a needle and syringe, and they make them for barbecue, and you suck up like whatever. You could make a salt brine with fat. You could make a beef broth and salt brine. The one that I really want to do is I want to inject one with Frank's Red Hot. You actually put it into the muscle and you inject the meat full of some kind of delicious whatever. It can be, like I said, it can be broth. It could be pepper, aioli. It could be, hot sauces, whatever. But you can inject it, and that keeps it super juicy inside. And then you put it in there, and it keeps it from drying out, because that's one thing you have to worry about. Like low and slow is good, but if you do it too low for too slow for too long, it dries out the surface so bad it's like beef jerky on the outside and
Right.
undercooked on the inside, So, but to answer your quick question, definitely, I don't think there's any reason to ever put a piece of frozen meat in any kind of cooking apparatus ever, in my opinion, because people will say, well, you get a better sear because the outside you can cook it longer and not overcook the inside because it takes longer to thaw out, so it'll be rare. But yeah, but the entire time it's pulling water out of the steak as it's defrosting, and it's steaming the outside of the steak, which is just a freaking tragedy in my opinion. Like I
No
know people,
worries.
so I don't know. I think
I'm
it's
just, from the simple, I don't like to spend too much time cooking. So anything that's simple and easy is good for me.
But the beauty about your giant smoker is you can cook giant pieces of meat, and you only got to do it one day.
Right.
Then you got meat.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would never buy a $100 piece of meat and throw it in the freezer. So actually, after this live stream, we're going to go out and buy a nice big chunk of meat, and I'm going to smoke it. And that'll last my hubby and I, lunch and dinners or whatever, for the whole week. So I'm only cooking once.
Right. And this time,
fantastic.
If you were to take it out just this time, just for some fun, you take it out of the package. It's going to have blood all over it. Pat it dry with paper towels, and then give it a rub down with some salt, just on the outside, just salt. Just give it a good rub down with salt on the outside, roll it in some salt, and then just let it sit on your counter for like an hour or two. Just an hour. And because you could preheat your smoker and get the smoker going for 30 minutes anyhow, and just do that and let it get nice and dry on the outside for an hour or two, and then put it in, and you'll be amazed how much difference that the crust makes. Like the bark will get
I'll do that. Beautiful.
It'll make a big difference. And then depending on what piece of meat and what temperature you're going, when you get about 70% there, and I don't know how long this is going to take you, but let's say that it takes you, let's say it's a 12-hour smoke, right around the 7/8 hour, you should get unwaxed butcher paper and wrap it up in it, and then put it back in. I don't know if you've been doing that. I think we talked about that, but
we talked about it, but I don't know where to get this butcher paper. All I know is the baking paper. I don't know if it's the same thing.
Yeah, you can get the baking paper. Yeah, get baking paper will work. Yeah. Hopefully, if you can find it, unwaxed would be better. Right. Unwaxed baking paper. But if you can get that, it'll be fine. And then wrap it up, and it'll keep the right amount of moisture in, so that the heat isn't directly hitting the you want to build the bark, but then you want to keep from steaming it. If you put tin foil around it, it steams it. So you want that paper because it breathes a little bit, but it protects it from having that hot smoke hitting it for like another 3 or 4 hours, because then it's going to dry it out too much. But if you do that, you're going to like it for sure. It's going to be
okay. I might send you a link to what I know, and then you can tell me whether that's the right paper or not, because I'm a little bit confused by it. Yeah.
No worries.
So I'll do that later.
Let's see here.
Comment for the former vegan. When I first started, I had to cook completely and carefully increase meat amount. I couldn't handle even slightly underdone anything. Makes the food tasteless but needed. Yeah. When I first started Carnivore, I couldn't eat anything rare. It had to be cooked fully. But now I love it rare. It's just, I think, something you become accustomed to, and you just naturally gravitate to. Well, I did anyway. Now, if it's overcooked, I just don't like it.
Right.
Love it. The rarer, the better.
For sure.
Okay. They call it blue here, or still mooing.
For sure. How's Bill Knott in Alaska? Love him too. He's doing fantastic. He went to Costco the other day.
Did he really?
Yeah, he's got his last, or not his last video, but second to last video, I believe. He went to Costco and did a Costco haul.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, he's out.
Beautiful.
He's out and about with his brothers. He's been riding his 4-wheeler around. He gets out of the house now, and it's fantastic to see. So, and I think, and I think Carrie and Adam are going up, or Carrie is for sure. I think is going up to film him for the
next
1 year.
month, or
I think next month. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Or no, actually, I think it might be this one.
Oh,
I think
we
it might
are
be.
August.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So it's gonna be great. So no, very, very happy for Bill. He's doing a fantabulous job.
Also from a vegan to vegetarian to keto and finally to carnivore. Even as keto, I ate very little meat, took time and work to get to carnivore. Worth it. Long journey though. Good luck. Yeah. I think that's a great approach. Just take it slowly.
For sure. Let's see here. Did we catch up?
Yeah.
Oh, here's one.
It's amazing what we can do when we listen to doctors who aren't lying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Who are
Or that other stuff. I'm not going to say the doctors are lying. I'm going to say what they've learned, what they were taught was a lie because of the people that were teaching them.
Right. And yeah.
And the doctors are doing what we're doing as well. So they're practicing what they preach.
They preach.
So
exactly.
Yeah. And most of the doctors I go to, I mean, they're all overweight as well. And they're trying to give me advice when I've lost a lot of weight. And they're like, oh, just, you need to eat some vegetables. You need to get your nutrients. And I'm like, I am fine. You know that. You can see that in my blood results. Maybe you should follow the carnivore diet too and lose some of your kilos. But I never say that. But I think it. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, our doctors are crackheads too, It's just it's crazy.
And I respect what the doctors say. I listen to what they have to say, but then I do my own research and then I just do what I think is best for me because it's my body. I know myself better. Sure. I know this is working. I'm feeling fantastic. And all I need the doctor is for right now is to give me that script to have blood tests if I need it or, if I break a leg, they'll need to fix that. Yeah. But apart from that, I think I'm doing really well. So,
right.
Yeah. But I'll respect them, but I just do my own thing. So research yourself. It's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you can cook a steak in the oven, but you are not going to have a very good sear. So you need to sear the steak off on something hot, so like cast iron skillet or stainless steel skillet.
You'd be better off making it in a broiler?
No, no, because it's going to dry it out. You need very hot contact surface to make contact with the steak to make that crust. So if it was me, and a reverse sear is very common, but if it was me, I would take the steak, I would pull it out, I'd let it rest, I'd pull it out, I'd pat it dry with paper towels. Always pat your steak dry, get the blood and the water off the outside surfaces, and then salt both sides of it a little bit, right? And then put it on a cooling rack and just let it sit at room temperature for 30 minutes to an hour if you can. And then once you take that out, I would put it in the oven in a roasting pan, and I would put it at like 250 degrees. And for me, I like my steaks, the internal temperature to be right around 123 to 129 degrees. 123 is very rare. 129 is like a more medium rare. 134 is like a medium well, right? So I would get, depending on where you want it, I would shoot for an end temperature of somewhere around, I would probably start at like 100 and just if you don't know what kind of steak you like, I'd start at like 129 degrees. So you put it in the oven, probably take about 35 to 45 minutes, depending at 250 degrees, how thick your steak is. Check it with a thermometer, get it to about 127 to 129 degrees right in there. And then put it on a cooling rack, take it out, put it on a cooling rack, let it sit there. While that's happening, I would take and get a pan really hot and I would put a bunch of butter in it. And then I would put that steak in there and I would sear it with butter and I would bathe it in butter and do both sides for about a minute and a half. Then you take it out of the pan, you put it back on the cooling rack, you let it rest for about 7 to 8 minutes, and then you slice it in like pencil thick strips against the grain, and that thing will be beautiful. And then use that butter to dump over it from your pan. It's gonna be tasty. for sure. About the best you can do, I think, with oven and skillet. So drugs, most doctors. That's a fact. Mike Shaw says hugs, not drugs. Lindy, you should sprint your blood results.
Print.
Okay.
On a business card.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, no. I was very happy with them after hearing Dr. Hampton, because he actually took the time to go through all of my markers and tell me what it was all about. Like, my doctor was just like, whatever, they're fine. There's a few things that I'm concerned about, but I think you should introduce more fruit and veg. And that was about it. But he was able to go through all the things and tell me what all the markers meant. And that was so helpful. So I'm glad that I can actually go back and watch Bella's video anytime. And like, if I get a next blood test, I can go back to remind myself what everything means and what it's there for. And it was so good to just get that confirmation that I am actually doing really well. So
just look in the mirror.
For sure.
That's all you got to do, Lindy.
Yeah. Well, I've actually got an old blood test as well, like from when I first started. I was three months into Carnivore. So I actually want to compare the two and just see what the differences were.
Mhm.
And so I'm thinking of doing a video about that as well. And then I've got Dr. Hampton's reference as well, so I know what all the markers mean. So I'm going to try and do something like that over the next week or two. Yeah. It'd be very
awesome.
interesting.
That will be crazy. I'm so behind. I've been trying to do a blood test since Texas, and I still haven't got one, or my EKG. So I'm way behind. I got to go do that. I'm going to make that a priority here in the next week or two, because
it's going to be interesting to see the results from what you had before. Do you have your papers from before?
Oh yeah, I had a pretty extensive blood test. Now, what sucks is I wish I would have had it, the worst ones that I had. Because when I got my blood tested, it was when I was like probably on one of the better stints of keto that I was on.
Right.
Because I remember getting my blood test even then, and my doctor was like, "You're a poster boy for the keto diet," because I was like 600 pounds, but my blood was like pretty good, except for my testosterone was in the toilet. But all my markers were good when I was on keto. And so my doctor was like, "You're a poster boy for a ketogenic diet, because you shouldn't be able to be this big for this long and be this clean." And I was very clean. So that's not a big deal. What's real, but at least I have some kind of baseline, but it wasn't
worse.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't at my worst by any means. It kind of sucks. But the testosterone is what I'm really looking for, because that was horrendous. That was in the toilet, So, but I definitely have all those blood tests, and then they did take some blood from me and do some tests when I was in the hospital when I was very sick. I don't know what tests they did, but I can pull up those records and see what testing they did when remember when I went in the hospital for 11 days, get all that fluid off. They did quite a few tests to tell me I had congestive heart failure and all that nonsense that didn't stick. So, but yeah, I'll definitely be wanting to do that too. So I got to get on the ball. Oh,
love you all. Gotta go take my pups. Yeah, enjoy your walk. Enjoy that sunshine. I'm so jealous.
For sure. Oh, hey, Charlie hopped in.
There he is.
Charlie Marilyn.
Hi, Charlie. Hi, Marilyn. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Charlie. Hey, Marilyn. Thanks, guys, for stopping in. All right. So, put any questions you guys might have in the chat, and what are your guys' thoughts on Carnivore, and what, is Carnivore now, anybody that's been doing this for any time, has Carnivore been less restrictive than you thought it was going to be? What are your thoughts on that? Where have you come? Put in the chat how long you've been Carnivore and what your thoughts are on that. I'd be really interested to see, because I think likely what we're going to see is that the people that do this crazy diet long enough are probably becoming more and more strict, you might say, but finding it very freeing to be, to be simplified, to have it work down to what's optimal for them, because that's what I keep seeing with everybody. So put that in the chat and let us know. Let's see.
So how long have you been carnivore for now, Todd? You're
20 months, 20 whole
20
months.
months.
Yeah.
And Michael?
A year and 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm at 2 years and 6 months.
Isn't it awesome?
Who would have thought I'd be at 2 years, 6 months? I remember at the start, I'm like, how am I going to do this for a year? Like,
No.
Just couldn't imagine it.
You're at 2 years and 8 months.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's August.
You started in January. Yeah.
January, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, yes. 7+ months, yeah.
Yeah, you know me, maths don't work, so I'm not good with numbers. But
no, well, the reason why I was saying that is because it's so crazy that it just seemed like we just did our episode where it was my 1 year, your year, or your 2 years, and Michael's is like 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just there, and I thought, oh man, this is gonna be crazy to see what happens when I'm at 2 years where Lindy's at. Well, that's like stone's throw away. I mean, pretty much we're gonna blink. And that's going to be there. And that gets me to the point of people. And like I said, I sympathize why people are putting time limits on everything, because in your mind, you can only prepare yourself for that much discomfort of what you think it's going to be for a short period of time. Nobody wants to be on a diet for years, 7 years, whatever. They want this to go away. But once you realize that you're free, it's not that way, but that's what I was saying. Like, no matter what, it had I known, or had I used that same mindset that, well, this is going to take, because honestly, I think to lose all this weight and probably to get the skin surgery off, I think from the time I started to the time I'm done, it's going to be like 5 years. And if I would have told myself that, in the past, that this is just going to take 5 years, I never wanted to do anything that was going to take 5 years to fix this.
Yeah.
But luckily it stopped being a privileged plan that I had, and it started becoming a necessity to live.
Right.
But at least by doing that, it got me flipped around. And now look, the 2 years has pretty much gone by on its own. Before I know it, I'll be halfway to that mark. I'm already, I'm not to my goals by any means, but I am 5,000% better. I mean, I can breathe, I can sleep, I can walk, I can drive, I can move, and I'm not wanting to eat a bullet every day that I wake up and just, call it quits. That happened in 20 months. So, and the 20 months went by, whether these 20 months could have just as easily went by and put me in the grave or in a way worse situation too. Like, we can't just go, if I don't get this out of it, then I'm not even going to try, which is what I did for forever. So we just got to get turned around,
Yeah. I was carnivore last time for 6 months. It was not too restrictive when I was eating a ribeye every day. I was unemployed and couldn't keep that up and had to go mostly hamburger. It was a drag.
Yeah, that would be a drag. Although, if you can get a smoker, I can tell you one of my favorite things to do is to mix a little bit of bacon with a little bit of ground beef and make bacon burger patties and smoke that. Oh my gosh, those are so good.
Whew. I never thought to do that. I might have to give that a try in the smoker. I'll get some, I might do that today. That wouldn't take as long as the big roast either.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, so if I do those later, and then I'll do the big piece of meat tomorrow, because then I can start early in the morning and keep it in much longer. So
yeah, just take 50% ground beef and then take 50% bacon. Chop up the bacon with a knife so that it's just little chunks, and then you just literally mix it together with your hands. I like to put some pickled jalapenos in there too, because I love pickled jalapenos. Mix that up in there, but then form them into burger patties. Put whatever salt or whatever you want on them and smoke those suckers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, those were so good. Yeah, those were some of my patties. The little flakes that you're seeing in there are the pickled jalapenos. And I went ahead and cut up a little bit of cheese in two of them. And I put some cheese, pickled jalapenos, and then we smoked those suckers. And they were so good, along with the tomahawks. Now, those tomahawks, we smoked them until 126 degrees. And then the reason why they are so crunchy is because I seared them in tallow, and those things were so good. And Cosette loved the bones.
Oh, I bet.
But yeah.
So with the hamburgers, do you stick a thermometer in those, or you just cook them for an hour or two?
No, I
What
cook
do
them
you
for
do?
about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I can tell by those by feel when you push on them. I know
Okay.
I know the density that I'm looking for on those. And so it's however you need to do it, but I know it by feel, you know.
All right. What temperature? I just put it on where it says smoke, so I don't actually put it on a number. I've never used
Yeah,
the
I would
numbers.
put it on I'd put it on 275. I put it on, well, hold on. It's I forget you're an Aussie. Hold on. Celsius
Yeah.
calculator. All right. So Fahrenheit 275. Okay, so that's 135 degrees Celsius is what you should smoke it at.
135.
Yep. And then
Okay.
you want an internal temperature. Do you like your burgers with no pink or a little bit of pink?
A little bit of pink.
Yeah. So then I would go. So you want to cook it to 54.4 degrees Celsius internal temperature.
Okay.
Yeah, and you won't regret that. Those will be tasty, real tasty.
All right. I'm going to do that this afternoon. Sounds good. I'm excited now.
It's gonna be good. I love them. They're so tasty.
My 1-year anniversary is coming up at the end of the month. I've always relished fatty meat, so it was actually a dream come true diet for me. Oh, congratulations. We're almost there.
That's
1
awesome.
year. You're going to celebrate with some like tomahawk or something?
That's worth celebrating for sure. Man.
Yeah.
No, I you know, it's just between fasting and ribeyes, what is there to get tired with? You know, even hamburgers and fasting, whatever. I've definitely found that if I'm not enjoying beef, then it's a good time to fast because how spoiled am I getting if beef starts not tasting good, you know?
And sometimes I get a little bit sick of beef and I just have my egg colada and I enjoy that. It's like a nice hot warm eggy drink. It's almost like a custardy. Just drink that at night, and it's just a really nice, easy meal. It's very light. I'm not going to bed on a really full tummy, so an egg colada just to change things up works well for me as well. 1 year and 2 months carnivore. Yay! Congratulations.
That's huge. That is huge. Veteran.
And I think this is like so easy to do. Like most diets, I would fail after 24 hours or maybe 48 if I was lucky. Yeah. And this one,
right,
2 years and 8 months, and I'm still going. It's sustainable if the people around you who fight for you being on it,
for sure. That does help for sure. But you know what's funny is people around me came around, right? Because of me, you know, because of the results. And so I think if we can find the path, the process, the strength, whatever it takes to do it anyways, people will come around because they're going to see such crazy changes in you that you end up starting to build a little carnivore army around you, you know? So it's kind of cool.
Oh, that hasn't happened for me. But if people try to challenge me, I just listen to what they have to say and then change the topic. I don't bother commenting back or saying anything. It's like, you do you, I do me. And that's how I feel. I just like put up walls. I don't want to be challenging anybody about why I'm doing this and why it's working for me. So I avoid the topic at all costs, basically.
Yeah, I lean into it every time. I love the conflict, but
oh, see, I'm not a strong person, and most of my friends, they're very loud and strong and passionate. So for me to try and tackle them, I just feel like I'm losing a losing battle. Like it's not even worth my time. And then I get upset and take it personally. So it's just best to avoid topic for me. Yeah. But I'm glad that I wish I was more like you and could challenge people and say what I'd like. But
Well,
I'm just not there yet.
you're coming along nicely though. We're gonna get you in shape. We're gonna get you in sarcasm shape in boot camp here. Mike Shaw says one reason I dropped out plus was just eating the hamburger plus I just said I wasn't losing weight. Like I said, I gained weight and it was starting to not feel great, so I'm back still kind of broke. So I'm adding onions and mushrooms sometimes. Absolutely,
Salsa,
Mike.
yeah.
Yeah, and the salsa.
Yeah.
Whatever you got to do to stay carnivore, I mean, the definition of carnivore is just 70% meat diet, or animal based diet. But I think we all went through that. I didn't lose a single pound all winter, Mike, and I was like, dude, what do I got to do? And before that, I really I was thinking about this too. Out of 20 months, I really only lost weight probably 8 months of the 20 months. The rest of the time, I was pretty much either gaining weight or plateaued.
Going back and up and down like I am.
Yeah, up and down.
Yep.
But this is why I love the Steak and Butter Gang so much and their priming protocol so much is because it explains exactly why. And doctors like, Robert Kiltz and everybody, it's crazy for us to want to concentrate on the weight because the weight is not and it's been beaten into our head that the weight is causing the sickness, but it's not. Weight is a parallel symptom. And what the scale says is so arbitrary and so nuanced that like you have to know why the scale's going up and down and why it's stopping or why whatever, because there's no real correlation with being skinny or lighter on the scale and being healthier. Like right now my mom is probably the lightest I've ever seen her, and she looks like she's dying because she's got Parkinson's and she's got atrophy. Doesn't mean she's doing better.
Right.
She's not doing better because she weighs less, and she's fought weight her whole life. She's actually malnourished and it's a problem, and so this stuff's kind of crazy, right? And so when the SBG they end up showing you that we have to nourish the body first, and then the body has to go through and heal, and during that process you might gain weight. I gained 21 pounds when I was doing it, and you might gain weight and then you might stall out and all those things, but the weight eventually comes off, and at the end of the day I am physically leaner, I am way stronger, I have so much more stamina. I can do things that I could not do for the last 5 years, and one of them breathing like without oxygen, and there's all these things. And then after I just kind of settled into that, plus the lymphedema in my legs are healing up, then the weight comes off in these little spurts. Right now I happen to be going through one of those weight spurts, which is great. But I also know that as soon as it gets cold, the brakes are going to hit. I'm probably going to stall this winter, and I'm going to be priming more throughout the winter. And then next summer, it's probably going to come off again. But the weight really doesn't mean anything. It's really just staying the course and healing. And if you were not feeling great, I'm going to guess that you were way under eating, because that's when I hit month 7.5. That's when I stopped feeling the carnivore high, and I got tired and I got weak, and we needed to sleep all the time. And it's because I was under eating because the scale wasn't moving, and I was only worried about the scale. Right. So I was way under eating, and I had to go through and prime, and I ended up having to eat 7 pounds of meat a day for a while, which I know on a budget is hard to do, and so you'd have to do it with cheaper meats or whatever. But that was a rough one. But that really was what was going on, is I was just way under eating for sure.
Yeah, it's so easy to undo on carnivore, and I constantly fall into that trap, and it just tanks my metabolism. So I can't prime like most people. So my priming is basically eating lots of little meals throughout the day. So it might even be 5 bites of meat and just keep eating throughout the day for like a couple of days. And that ramps up my metabolism enough that the weight will start to slow down, need to drop again. So But winter, I'm finding that I'm kind of maintaining my weight over winter, and I'm hoping once the sun comes out and things will change and the weight will start to drop again. But yeah, definitely experiencing a bit of a stall at the moment. And then I haven't been optimal for 2 months. I've just had a few cheats here and there because of different things. So it's probably not helping as well. Yeah.
For sure. But it's okay. Just keep moving forward, get back on track, and
yeah,
summer's coming soon enough, and it'll
yeah,
all start moving.
yeah. Winter's a real drag.
For sure.
Don't like it. I think I'm definitely. My mum was like that when the sun disappeared and there was no blue sky. She would always fall into a bit of a funk, very gloomy. And then summer would hit, or like the nicer weather, and she would pep up. She was like a butterfly, a brand new person. And I feel like I'm getting that way now. I'm actually enjoying and wanting to see the sun. So definitely feeling that funk right now.
Yeah,
Mm.
for sure. Started Ketovore 4 years ago, transitioned to Carnivore about 14 months ago with a few slip ups. Gets easier every month. Just have to find things to keep my mind occupied. 100%.
Right.
Well, and eat through it. Like, like if you're having cravings, just go eat meat. Just eggs, meat, ham. Whatever you got to do. That's always what cured that for me. When I was bored or whatever, I'd just lean into eating. But just eating the right thing before I got cravings for the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I saw one of the coaches talking about a countertop electric smoker in SBG during the fat group. Okay. Were you there when that happened, Todd?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who that was. I think Coach Amy has electric indoor smoker, and I don't know. I haven't tried one of those yet, but I hear they work pretty good. But
a couple weeks ago, I saw somebody in chat talking about that they had one. They liked it.
I gotcha. I bet they work pretty good for sure. I definitely think the outdoor pellet smoker is probably better.
Yeah.
But it'd be worth a shot. It's better than nothing for sure.
I love the smell of it, like with all that little wood. Everyone here's got open fireplaces. I don't. And I go outside and I smell that wood burning and I just feel so cool. Now I can smoke my meat and I get the same smell and I really love it. Yeah.
Right. For sure.
It's going to be so worth it, Todd. You're doing so great already. You're all doing great. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks so much. Oh, for sure. And I mean, in the big picture, what makes this so sustainable is the freedom, like we've talked about, and the fact that it is sustainable. But the fact that there's no immediate goal that I have to hit to to talk myself into keeping going for another month or whatever. It's just, this is what it is now, and whatever comes out of it's going to come out of it. And really the only adjustments I make at this point is based on if I could feel a little bit better, because that's really what I do now. Because I like Lindy said, I'm addicted to feeling good. So if it takes eggs, I eat the eggs because I no longer have any kind of compulsive nature to not eat, to eat a certain thing or whatever, So, I mean, it's kind of funny sometimes because if I look back my old self, I could see my old self freaking out about what my diet is right now. If I would have told myself 20 months ago that this is what I was going to be eating right now and I was going to love it, I would have been, there's no way I could have talked myself into it 20 months ago. I mean, I get up in the morning and I drink 50 milligrams of iodine that, as strong as can be. And then I take amino acids and then I drink raw eggs. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm just taking iodine and fasting for 7 days. But I love it and I feel great. And I'm putting on so much muscle and strength that it makes everything easier. That picture that I show of the suffer, that's a very real thing. Mm-hmm. Right. And now it's really coming to fruition because every day that I get stronger and I see more definition, I see more muscle and lean tissue growing, is a day that I can stand up for a longer period of time without feeling fatigued. I can walk further. I can lift heavier things. I can be more active. I I'm building a gym, for crying out loud. I hate exercise. I used to absolutely hate it. And I'm building one because I feel so good that I can. It feels good now to lift heavy things. It feels good to exert yourself, and your body thanks you for it. And it takes these building blocks and the proper hormones, and it just makes you tougher, and you just get more strength and stamina out of it. I mean, it's crazy. And so, just like Lindy said, that's why I changed my eating now based off of that. Because how I want to feel. It's so much fun to be able to eat in a way that's going to produce a result of feeling good and being more, just having more stamina in life. I mean, it's crazy.
Mm. And who would have thought you'd be building a gym and actually enjoy and want to use it
Excited
from
about it,
where
right?
you've been?
Yep.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
we saw what you've done, and I'm just amazed. You're looking so cool, and had this new area in the back. I can't wait till you've got the gym going. It'll be
it's gonna be
awesome.
so much fun, and it's crazy because
Yeah.
just 20 months ago, every day when my eyes would open, I hated the day. It was just you're sick, you're tired, you're miserable. It just seemed, it seemed like you're in a hole that you couldn't climb out of. Like there's just no visible hope of coming out of anything. Yeah, that guy, that guy right there. This pit was so deep. There was just no light at the end of the tunnel. There was no hope. And so I used to just have to take the morning, a minute at a time. I had to talk myself into waking up, talk myself into the next 20 minutes of what I was going to do. I mean, it was miserable. Now, what's crazy is I'm waking up at like 4 a.m. to go work out before I go to work. I got so much energy that it feels good. And I'm excited to get up at 4 a.m. to go to my garage and lift weights, like it's crazy what's happening
Yeah.
right now. And that's not, I didn't exercise to lose weight. I did carnivore, got healthy, and now the benefit is that I'm alive again. I get to do those things. I mean, it's flat incredible when I see it, and I want everybody else that was stuck in there to see where we can come if we just. It's not restrictive at all. It has given me most ways more of a life than I've ever had before, actually.
Right. And you're just getting started too, man.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, it's fun now because it just seems like the sky's the limit. I'm like, wonder how strong I can get. I wonder how good I can feel,
Right.
Like it's going to be really fun to find out, I mean, I've already surpassed every hope that I've ever had for health right now. So anything that gets better than this is icing on the cake or
Yeah.
butter on the
But there's
ribeye.
no way you could have done this 20 months ago. It's been a process, and sticking to your
Right.
guns and doing this way of eating, and it has
gradual-
changed your mindset,
Right.
your attitude towards life. You feel better, and you
Mhm.
just want to do these things. So at
Yeah.
the start, don't think, oh, I'm going to need to go and buy these weights and
No.
get a
No.
gym and all that
Not
kind of
ready yet.
stuff. It's not ready yet. It just happens. You wake up one morning and it's like, I feel like I need to take a walk. And you walk up
Your
and down
body
the
will-
hallway a few times.
Your body will
and
tell you. Yep.
For sure.
yeah, you slowly start to want to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be in a rush. You go too hard too quickly and you end up hurting yourself, and then
And setting back.
it's
Yep.
like 3 steps back. Yeah.
Right. 100%. Yeah. And you just got to let it come to you. But trust me, you'll know. You don't have to force
Yes.
anything. You'll know.
Yep.
You'll wait. I mean, I'm not even kidding you. And for me, I think a lot of it was hormones. But when I started eating the eggs, I just went from not wanting to move. I was used to be so sick to when I was putting the eggs down. I just look at something and I just wanted to grab heavy things and throw them around for some reason, because your hormones, your testosterone's coming, it's getting up
Picking
there,
up,
and
yep.
yeah, and you're just like, you just have a little bit of ornery in you, and you just want to grab something heavy and throw it around, and where before you shied away from it because you're tired and sick and didn't feel good, and now it's kind of fun to. I was just at a place today and I bought some Olympic plates and some kettlebells and a barbell and stuff. And it was fun just to grab them, grab the plates off the counter and stuff. And it was fun to watch the guy behind the counter who was a little overweight that was selling the plates. He was helping me in my car. And he was the one that got out of breath carrying half the weight that I was carrying to the car. And I was like, that's right. That's right. This is carnivore muscle here you're playing with, pal. So it's kind of fun to see the little chubby guy behind the counter getting out of breath.
Younger than you too, probably.
Way younger. Yep. And I was laughing. I'm like, that's right.
Yep.
You know, this is carnivore muscle we're dealing with. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just fun to start watching that pendulum swing on the other side. It's very encouraging.
More keto for now, I guess, and glad I'm back. That's
We're glad
okay.
to have
Glad
you
you're
Yeah.
back too, Mike.
We are glad to have you back. Mike.
Missed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bacon burger idea. I'm looking forward to that too.
They're
Those
really
look really
tasty.
good. Yeah, they look good.
Yeah. I'll let
They
you
are
know how
tasty.
it goes.
For sure.
Forgot you were fasting. We are seasoned citizens, ketovore, carnivore for about 6 years now. This saved our lives. We both lost lots of weight and regained our health and especially our brains.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's awesome,
It's awesome.
Charlie.
So
and
good.
Marilyn, yeah.
Marilyn and Charlie are just killing it. Yeah, exactly. And they know. And I mean, you know, the great news, you know, for all of us, we had to find it, but now we have this, you know, this obvious roadmap to health for life, you know, to whatever optimal from this point out is for us. We have that option at least, you know,
Right.
to be the best we can be. Do you have any videos on how to cook meat different ways? You need to. There are a lot of people, including myself, who do not have a clue on how to cook meat. Okay, well that's good information. I only have a couple of videos on meat, but I'll start a series because I do cook a lot of meat, and I'm going to be cooking a lot of meat, so I will start showing them kind of the carnivore simplistic way of doing it. So I'll do some sous vide videos, some reverse sear videos. I'll do some crock pot videos, some pressure cooker videos, some smoker videos, and we'll get them all out there. And I don't have anything yet, but I'll start making them.
Just some basic steaks as well with a normal saucepan or fry pan.
Yeah,
Not everybody has the cast irons and things like I don't have all that stuff.
Right.
So, yeah.
Will do.
I'm so glad you speak up, Todd. I want the whole world to know the truth and stop spreading the lies.
For sure.
Yeah.
We make no mistake, we are at war. We are in a propaganda war for sure.
Yep.
And they are lying to us for power and control and to make money off of us. And we got to fight it. So we got to, you know, we just have to shine a light on it. But you know, like we got to walk the walk too, because we're not going to convince anybody if we're not bearing fruit of, you know, we have to have our convictions in what we believe. We have to walk the walk, and then we can tell people. That's another reason that I am so happy to be able to work out and stuff in the mornings and do that, is because I know that that's going to have a benefit, and I know that that's going to show a better contrast, and I know that that's going to end up, people can't fight that, you know. If you get healthy, if you get lean, if you get strong on carnivore, how are they going to try to tell you that we need carrots in our diet or whatever, or we need, you know, that our cholesterol is bad? Like, there's no way you can look at me on oxygen and me now and say that this meat diet's bad for me. Like, there's just nobody in their right mind could possibly try to make that argument. Nobody that knows me would dare make that argument, you know? And so it looks, I don't know, the future is going to be fun for all of us. The more of an example we become when we get these
And
results.
you get up at 4 a.m. every morning. You don't need carbs to work out.
No, for sure.
You've got the energy, you can sustain a workout, and then you get on with your day and work a full-time job. So you're doing amazing without the carbs.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Like, what do I need them for? That's a good point.
I regret the 3-month break for sure. My labs in October were pretty great, even though I hadn't lost much weight. My why has to be better than losing weight and eating ribeyes.
100%. Yeah. And I mean, part of my why ended up just being like, what else? Right? Like, what else are you going to do, you know, besides this, you know? And that's where I'm at, like, right now. Even if I did get bored or whatever, what else am I going to put in its place? There's nothing else better. Right. And so if I'm not doing this, I'm going to go backwards for sure. And I've been, you know, that descent into hell is pretty immediate and pretty extreme. So I do not want to go back there, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like might not be perfect, but what else are we gonna do?
Yeah. And don't beat yourself up about it. It happened and it's done. So just move forward.
For
That's
sure.
it.
You
Move
can't
forward.
change the past. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Just a short time in your brain turns on like you flipped the switch on. You flipped on this on
Absolutely.
switch.
Yep. Fog flips. Yep.
Flip the off switch on. Yep, for
Bit
sure.
of a tongue tie.
100%.
That's a huge why.
That
Yeah.
is. Yep.
100%. Yeah, you just
Pain sucks.
it does, and especially when you deal with it a long time, it becomes
Draining.
yeah. You drained. I mean, it just becomes so just overwhelming, right? You just get wore down. You just get so wore down by it that you're
Yeah.
just you wake up and you're like, all right, well, something's changing, or else I'm just gonna die because right now I
You
cannot.
want to.
Yeah, I did not want to wake up one more morning like
Mhm.
this. Like,
Yeah.
I
no.
dreaded waking up each morning again because I know I have to go through all the stuff I just did yesterday.
Yeah,
Yep. And it sucks.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to wake up because I didn't want to be a burden on my family anymore. I didn't want their pity. I didn't want to feel like I was useless and wasn't good for anything.
right.
I just didn't want to be here. I thought if I could die, they could get on with their lives and just, be a lot happier. But now my daughter needs me. My kids need me. And I want to be here to help them. I want to be here and meet my grandkids or do whatever. Just a totally different outlook on life.
For sure, 100%. And once you know how to get there too,
Yeah.
it's hard to almost, you know, it's hard to. You can't really slip back into the coma we're in once we've been on this side. You know, we know too much. We've seen too much. We know it works.
But I think we were all at such a low where we didn't think we would ever be able to crawl out of that deep hole. And we all did it.
Yep.
It's
You wanted to,
possible.
but you never thought you could get out of it. You just thought you just go right back to
No.
it. So why even try anymore? That's where we
Right.
all were.
Right.
Yeah.
But the why try is because what I found out, because I definitely did the why try anymore thing, is because I just hell, I kept thinking that I was at the bottom, but lo and behold, every time I use that logic, I found a new depth of hell that I wasn't in
No,
before.
I know.
Yeah, and then I
You
was
get
like,
to a point where you want to give up. You just don't want to do it no more.
no, not at all, for sure. And I mean, for years and a decade or so, for sure. But find a reason, and then we found a way. The reason we all had whys and reasons,
right?
This whole time.
For everybody, it's different. For everybody, it's different. I don't care if you're 200 pounds. There's a reason why you want to make a change.
Right.
It doesn't have to be the weight. It could be some other health issue that you're dealing with.
For sure. And I'm just saying we all had whys and reasons before every time we started our other diets too. It wasn't that the whys and the reasons weren't good enough. It's because we're getting lied to. We're told that we had to eat less and, eat vegetables and all this crap. One of the things that changed was when we found out we were being lied to and we actually started eating the proper human diet.
And what our body needed.
Back, freed us, that was one of the freeing things. So, yeah, very interesting.
Well, I came at it from a different perspective because I didn't think I would get out of this rut that I was in. I was at my lowest and I thought I still had all the eat meat, you're going to get cancer, you're going to do, die of a heart attack. So that's why I did it, because I was slowly killing myself doing what I was doing. So I needed to change things up and make it quicker.
Right.
So I didn't believe in carnivore at all. I did not believe carnivore was going to cure me. Like I was, look at all the carnivore influencers. Nobody was 800 pounds, had the, 1 foot in the grave and beat this. There was nobody with extreme, morbid super obesity that I had that did this. So I started carnivore thinking it was going to end my life a lot sooner. Instead, I got my life back.
For sure.
A completely different reason. I had whys. I wanted to get my life back. I just didn't think it was possible, that I was too far gone.
100%. 100%. Yep. I know. I was trying to think of who else. I think Carnivore Rick also said the same thing, that he was trying to off himself with meat.
Oh, who's Carnivore Rick?
He's the one that eats the lizards in Florida.
Oh,
Charge him up, huh?
Charge Mopar. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Does
funny.
he say that? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't eat lizards.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Missy's question. We didn't
Hi,
read Missy's
Missy.
yet, did we? No. Yeah.
I'm almost 10 months carnivore and 6 months line, more strict line. The better I feel and the more I can function like a regular person. Eating other things keeps me in bed or in the hospital bed. Yeah. And this is that one size fits all, when it comes to diets, we all have to find what works for you, for each other. And line you're doing really well on. And if people just say, oh, just eat a biscuit, eat this, it's going to put you in hospital. It's going to make you feel unwell. And people need to just be proud of you that you found something that works for you and it's keeping you out of hospital. You're feeling amazing and praise you for that. So good job, Missy. And yeah, keep going.
100%.
I mean, that is what I tell people. If you are hungry, eat meat. Yeah.
Right. Don't restrict. Just eat.
I couldn't walk for two months ago. I'm too young at heart to give up, and it has improved. So I'm grateful. Great job,
That's awesome.
Laurie.
Yeah, it'll all come back. It really will.
We're here in SBG gang when you've got the NSV meetings. A lot of people just throw their real walkers out and, they're getting on the floor and playing with their grandchildren. And it's just such a wonderful, just hearing these stories. I love it.
For sure. What was fun was when I was cleaning out the garage, I had my oxygen concentrator machine and I had all these oxygen bottles and regulators and all this stuff and CPAP machine and all this crap. And there was a part of my brain that says, oh, I should keep that out in a spot where I can get to it. And then I was like, hell no. Put that in the backest, darkest corner of that shed. I'm never using that crap again. And it was just kind of funny to get rid of it all because it's like, yeah, I'm not using one of those stupid death trap freaking, prison devices ever again. It's like just bondage, but it was fun to go, I don't need any of this crap. I'm not going to save it for one day,
And just think 20 months ago you did. You needed it.
I need all of it.
Make it through the day. Yep.
Yeah, and I needed all of it. And I had them strung out. Like, there's one by the door in case I need an oxygen bottle. There's one in my car, like all this crap, one in the car when my sister would take me to the doctor or whatever. Yeah, and it was so fun to just throw all that crap in the back of the shed and be like, never again. This is going away. And it was crazy. It was so weird too, because that had been a part of our life for so long. Because first my dad was on it, and then my brother Ty was on it, and then both of them died, and then I was on it. And so these same stupid oxygen concentrators and oxygen bottles and regulators and mobile carts and all this crap. And it felt so good to throw it in the deepest. Half of it went in the dumpster and the other half went into the deepest corner of the storage shed because I just care less about it. It's like, I'm not saving that. Not going back there.
Just think of all that money that's gone into buying all that equipment and all the drugs and all the tomahawks you could have had and not had all that.
Changed your life a lot sooner. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why it's crazy when people say, carnivore is too expensive. It's like, how many sick days a year do you take? How much medicine do you buy? How many times do you buy NyQuil and Advil and aspirin and Imodium and Pepto-Bismol and Tums and all this crap? And how many, just we've went through this 1,000 times before, but how many rolls of toilet paper do you buy because you have diarrhea all the time, because you have irritable bowel, whatever, and all this stuff that you use to deal with this condition that we're constantly making ourselves sick. Yeah. Or you could just not do any of it and just invest in ribeye or hamburger or chuck roast or whatever. And, there's always a way to do it. Like, one of the things I am going to make a video on here shortly is now that I'm smoking stuff and I'm enjoying all the different flavors and textures of beef anyways, I'm going to get a bunch of those chuck rolls and start breaking them down and see just what part of the chuck rolls I like and what part I don't. But I mean, an entire chuck roll that's like 60 pounds is only like $4 a pound, $4.50. So, and there's some really good meat in a chuck roll. You just got to butcher it yourself. And that's one of the reasons I'm happy they got the garage cleaned out, because like one wall is for my refrigerators, meat coolers, and I'm going to do a little bit of some prep work out there on meat, you know, so I can put it in the cooler. So it's going to be fun. Charlie, Todd, one of the best examples of how beneficial this is the old picture of you with the oxygen tubes and compared to the picture of you now. 100%, Charlie. I think Michael showed that earlier, actually.
I did.
But yeah, 100%. That was real life me. And, you know, what was crazy was in that picture, I was supposed to get worse, right? That was supposed to be my life for forever. That was supposed to be me and going to the doctor's appointments. And that was pinnacle, because my doctor said, that's just you now. This is part of your life now. You've got the COVID one, you know? And it was just like, it's such a lie, you know. It really is. If we'll believe it, if we're dumb enough to believe it and get scared and get into the, you know, the drug circle of being stuck on all that stuff, it's crazy.
Plus, you guys are young. I'm 61, hoping to squeeze out another 20, 30 years of quality life. That would be good. Of course,
You're
Jesus
still
will be
young,
back
Micah.
before that. Yes. It's just a number. Like, how do you feel? I'm 53. Todd's the young one here.
I keep hearing that, but I have gray hair, people.
Yeah. But I have people telling me that, saying, when I'm out with my daughters, are you three sisters? I'm like, no, I'm mum. What? You two, you know, you're too young to have a 33-year-old and a 21-year-old. They think we look like sisters. Like, I'm wrapped with
awesome.
that. But no, you know, I'm their mum. And I don't feel like, I don't feel like I've grown up half the time.
No.
Very, yeah.
Well, I think my dad said that. I think my dad said one time, you know, I think my brother or something said, I don't feel adult or something. Dad's like, you think I do just because I'm like 50? You know, he said, you don't feel any different, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I think so. For sure. But the carnivore sure has been good on our skin, for sure. Like the effects that it does on my skin, like I do, my face looks a lot younger now because my skin got a lot better. Right. My skin was a dumpster fire before. But it just makes sense that if your skin's made out of what you've eaten in the last 90 days, because it replaces itself every 90 days, every skin cell in your body. Well, I mean, when it's made out of crap, you know, like what's it got to build itself out of? So yeah, it does make sense.
What do you expect? Yeah, what do you expect it's going to look like if all you're doing is putting in junk food?
Yeah.
And isn't skin the largest organ in your body? Like, if your skin is considered an organ, if that's looking great, imagine what the inside's looking like. Yeah. Pretty neat, I reckon.
We only see what we see, huh?
No, we can't have the whole world on carnivore, not enough meat to feed the world. Listen, Matt, the former vegans that come in last are going to have to eat the bugs. That's the new rule. They're going to have the lab-grown meat and the Franken meat and the bugs. That's their penance for being the most intolerable people in the diet community up until the last. So the last wave of vegan turnovers, they're just going to have to deal with like the Timon and Pumbaa grubs under the logs that they'd eat. Yeah, for sure.
That's so awesome. Todd God has led us to the PhD, allowing us to heal and take our lives back.
100%, Susan. And not for no reason either, right? It's people are gonna see it. We're gonna be an example, and people are waking up, and they're gonna need to see. Just like me and Lindy were looking for somebody that was, me and Lindy and Michael were looking for somebody that was 600 pounds, 700 pounds, and lost it, and we couldn't find anybody. Well, now there's plenty of people. That's coming up, and we all, there's going to be enough examples that it's no longer going to be anecdotal, and there's going to be almost a carnivore revival, I would say, of people that need a real path out of the woods. And we're going to be it. And I'm pretty excited about it because we see it happening every day now.
Yeah. And there's quite a few people that have had bariatric surgery, whether it be lap band or gastric bypass, and they're now on carnivore. And we do have our struggles. It is a little bit harder to do, but you still can do it. There are ways to get around it. And I wish I didn't have lap band surgery because it does, it is a bit of a struggle, but I'm feeling amazing. Like, this is the way to go. And lap band surgery was not the answer for me. Maybe it worked for some, but I know a lot of people that it hasn't worked for. So,
For sure. For sure.
I was so frustrated trying to eat 5 to 7 servings of fruit and veggies the government recommended. Insane.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit ridiculous, isn't it?
I don't miss having the rotting vegetables in my fridge. You buy fruit and veg, and the next day you go in, and it's already wilted and disgusting in the fridge. You end
I
up throwing
know.
most of it out. It's like it didn't last.
I know. Well, and then you're like, so that's what, you can put a steak in the fridge and it'll last 6-7 days. In fact, some people dry age steak for months. You got to shave a little bit off, but yeah, you put some lettuce in the fridge and crap, in 5 days it turns into brown sludge.
Yeah,
It's like,
don't miss that at all.
no. Oh, I appreciate it, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Glad you're back, Michael.
Very glad.
Yeah. The longer I endeavour to sustain this way of eating, the more hopeful I become. Although I've had minor slip-ups, I haven't completely gone off course. You guys give me hope. Thank you. Yeah, just one day at a time. Just don't think too far ahead. And if you slip up, get back on the wagon straight away, and just don't let it spiral into, months and weeks of going off track.
Think of your whys, why you're doing it. Why do you want to make that change?
For sure. No, just keep pushing forward, Yep.
That's all you can do.
Let's see.
Yes, Todd, I know, right? Pushes me to get back to PhD. Amen. Yeah.
For sure. Absolutely.
PhD is proper human diet, if anyone wants to know.
It's the cool kid carnivore slang.
We're all good kids in this room.
For sure. We're here early. We get to eat steak. Dang tootin'. And you know what? There'll be plenty of meat on this planet if we stop processing garbage. Like, if people would just stop eating the drugs,
right,
they wouldn't have anybody to sell them to, and they'd stop making them, and they'd actually have to cater to the market, right? That's why they're trying so hard to regulate it all away, because they know that with this age of information and people are, the truth is spreading, that everybody's going to know that chicken, eggs, and ruminant animals are the real pathway to proper health. And they're trying to block it real bad, because that is not a moneymaker for them. They have to, and it's also not easily controllable,
Nope.
This, they don't.
They stopped it. Yeah, they need to stop rezoning our areas and putting residential and industrial estates everywhere. We need more farmland. They're just taking it away. It's becoming a lot harder as well.
Right, because they need more drug factories to push more sugar, Like,
get rid of the farms, we're going to need more drugs and more fake food.
Right.
Yeah. That's a huge problem. That's why I want my little property with my girls and just have our own animals and sustain ourselves there.
I
love Dr. Berry and Nisha's life. That's what I want for my family. I had gastric sleeve years and years ago. It's harder to get all the protein in when you've had bariatric surgery, but it's doable. Yeah, I love my egg colada recipe. That gets some protein and fats in with the eggs and a bit of tallow of butter, and I blitz it all up and drink that. And for those days that I can't eat meat, because sometimes I find stress, it makes everything a lot tighter and it's really hard to swallow meat. So I just live on the eggs, and that works okay. But it is doable.
For sure. PhD perfect human diet. For sure.
Yep.
True.
No, I don't know. I think, it's crazy to me how many people just because I haven't been back out of the house for very long, just pretty much the last few months, really working back out there. But people have been, in my circle of people that I know have been contacting me, and they're doing it because they see the difference, they see the change, and so they're reaching out. And I know I just I can't imagine where it's all going to be for all of us in another like 3 to 5 years. Like people are getting sicker and sicker by the day. People are looking for answers, but the carnivore community is thriving, and there's more and more extreme examples every day of people that are getting really miracles that is changing their lives, and they're getting their lives back. And so it's going to be pretty exciting to see when that lever flips. It's going to be, because right now it seems like it's kind of strange, but it's almost like some of the propaganda or some of the, I don't know, some of the tools they're using to fight carnivores almost just as impic, right? They're like, okay, yes, it is insulin resistance. It's the problem, but you could do it with a miracle shot, and,
Do it. I'm glad I didn't.
Oh, for sure not. I mean, how terrible is that? Your poor friend. But I don't know. The future looks very bright. I think because I know how many people have been contacting me, just in my personal circle. When everybody starts being an example, we all know so many people, that's going to grow exponentially very quickly, and some things are going to turn around for sure.
Same, had gastric bypass 16 years ago, and I wish I never had that done. Yeah, they said it was the cure, wasn't it? It's the cure, it's going to fix everything, but it's just another Band-Aid. It doesn't stop the problems that you had. It doesn't train you. It doesn't get rid of, that off switch doesn't happen. And it just makes life a lot more difficult. Because now you can't eat, you're still craving that food, and you end up throwing up all the time, and that's unpleasant. And then it just puts you down another spiral of depression. And I think it made things a lot worse for me, for sure.
And I had that in my head that was the only way I would ever lose the weight.
Right.
I fought for it. I wanted it so bad. I wanted to get the gastric sleeve, the bypass, and the one that I wanted was the dual denal, which is even worse. They take out part of your intestines. They take out. It's the most invasive one that they have, and so glad I didn't get it.
Yeah, and there's no support afterwards either. They just send you to a dietitian. You have your fruit and veg, and that, but it's not stopping the cravings. It's not helping me at all. It's just making me feel worse, and then I'm doing it wrong. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I try and do things right, and I wasn't getting anything down, not keeping my food down. So it actually has been loosened. And so I'm able to get a little bit of stuff down now. And they did want me to go back and have it retightened again. But I never did. I lost my mum at that time, and I was just like, it is what it is. And I'm glad that I don't have the full restriction now, and I'm able to get a little bit of meat down, but it's still a struggle. It's still But Carnivore has given me that off switch. It has fixed a lot of those cravings. I still have the comfort eating thing. It's something I'm still working on. Obviously, when life happens, you get a little bit, go back to your old ways. And that's a struggle. That's something I talk to myself daily. I don't want to do this. I don't need to do this. Think of my why and trying, and don't let that spiral into weeks and months of going off plan. So, and I'm kicking goals with that. But it's a process. What was it, 2 years, 8 months? It's still a process, and I still have to talk to myself daily. It's not easy. It is not easy, but you can do it, and it does require a lot of work. So if you're struggling, you've only got a few pounds of, to lose, you just got to keep at it and just trust the process. It will happen. May not happen straight away. We lost a lot of weight very quickly because we came from an extreme obesity. So we've lost, 300, 400, 500 pounds easy. But now things are starting to get harder. The weight's not dropping as fast now.
It
you
slows
know.
down, yeah.
For
And we
sure.
can't let that derail us. We need to keep strong and just keep trusting the process, and we will get there.
For sure.
And my best advice, if you're just starting out and you get those cravings and you feel like giving up and getting junk food or something, fill up, like Todd always says, and I do it as well. Fill up on eggs with bacon or ground beef or something. Just fill up, eat right away. Don't put off. Just eat something, eat the
Yeah.
good stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, because we've been, we've been brainwashed to think that our body being hungry is bad. And yeah, there's part of that when you're first kind of getting off the drugs, your brain's screaming out and it's wanting sugar. But over time you can override that switch because the stretch markers in your stomach is an appetite suppressant, right? It's one of your appetite control functions that shuts your hunger down in your brain. Leptin is the correct one to use, but when you're insulin resistant and you're on the drug roller coaster of sugar, you don't have leptin sensitivity, But what we all do, which is why everybody says, "Oh, I just have to eat until I feel that stuffed full feeling." Well, the reason why everybody says that is because that's your other switch that shuts off hunger is in the stretch markers in your lining of your stomach. And so if you don't have leptin sensitivity, you don't have the first line of appetite control. So you have to go to the second one. But that can be used as a tool to satiate yourself when you're having cravings. So if you just eat, carnivore foods and you stuff yourself, that switch will go off, and it's not, it's a crutch. And you do that for a while until you do get leptin sensitivity, and then you start learning what real hunger is, because that's a trip in itself. But generally, if you've been struggling with weight, you're likely have been under eating for a long time, and you've likely hurt your metabolism in the process.
Mhm.
And so it's almost never going to be your issue that you're going to overeat carnivore food.
No.
And this is why all these people that want to fight about calories matter and eating too much matters. Yes, it does. If you were a robot and you ate 50,000 calories of meat every day, you would absolutely gain excess fat.
Right.
Okay. But the fact of the matter is that if you're eating the proper human diet, your body will heal, then it'll self-regulate, and then you won't overeat. Right. And that's why we don't care about it. It's not because we are trying to say that you can eat as much meat and fat as you want without having any consequences of gaining extra mass. What we are saying is that your body will heal, and you won't do that, right? Eventually you won't do that. Eventually you'll heal. Eventually you'll have proper hormones. Eventually you will start having a normal, healthy relationship with nutrition and food, and your body will heal,
Mhm.
And I mean, so that's always the argument, and that's why you should always eat through it.
Yep, I have a feeling that is what I have on Todd. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Let's see here. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, eating the meat is the easy part. It's an emotional roller coaster that, does my head in for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, just battling those demons in my head.
For
How
sure.
is Michael doing lately? I love that guy and enjoy seeing him on here. We love him too. Yeah,
I'm here.
go.
A couple other people are asking about. Yeah, I'm here.
We love you,
I'm, I'm,
Michael.
yeah, I know. I love you guys too. I love all you guys. You guys are my family, all of you. I'm doing good. I've been stalled for a while now. Um, dealing with my legs. My legs. I've been going up and down in my weight. Gain it, lose it, gain it, lose it, and I've been dealing with probably the last 2.5 months now with my legs swelling up on me.
Hmm.
And just saw my doctor on Thursday, and she's going to put me on these new water pills. And probably in the last 2 weeks, I've been starting to get them down a little bit. I dropped like 15 pounds just this past week. And I know it's tied to not sleeping. I don't get enough sleep.
You have a hint here, Michael.
Hi.
Yeah,
But
I
believe
think
me,
we all underestimate rest,
rest
don't
is
we?
very important. If you don't get that enough
Yeah,
sleep, your body needs it. And
yeah,
she's got me on what's she putting me on now? She's putting me on these new water pills. She's putting me on she wants me to try this new magnesium that I haven't tried yet, and see if that helps with my sleep. Because it's once I wake up, I have to get up. I can't stay in bed. I'm too sore, and I just need to get up and start my day. It's just
Yeah,
like my mind starts running, and once the mind starts running, you just can't shut it off no more.
for sure.
So what I've been doing is I've been trying sitting up, and then after a couple hours, I'll go lay down for a little bit, and then I'll get back up, and that's helping. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Yeah, man, that has been the toughest part of mine, and so I can't imagine what it is with yours because your lymphedema is so much worse. But
yeah,
man, when that fluid gets backed up, I mean that's literally one of my favorite parts about the whole workout regimen that I put together has been staying ahead of that fluid because it is such a drag when that fluid gets
yeah.
on you. Yeah.
And I see this question here. Yeah, I got a vibration plate. I haven't been able to get on it. I had a sore. I got folds in my legs where the lymphedema comes out, sticks out of my leg. Then it comes back up, and there's a fold between two. I call them tumors. Like that's what I call them. And then the skin breaks down in between. So if I get on the vibration plate, the shaking hurts because everything's moving, and
Yeah.
it's making it worse. So I haven't been doing the vibration plate, and I'm hoping maybe this week I'll be able to get back on it.
For sure.
I noticed that I'm moving around a little bit better. When you're in pain, you don't feel like moving. You just feel like
No,
getting from one place to another. I get up it's a struggle just for me to get out of the bed in the morning. And then first thing I want to do is I just want to come out here and I just want to sit down and stretch and wake up a little bit. So, you don't want to move around much, but I noticed this past week I'm moving around more. So that's good.
Huh.
Perfect aminos.
That's awesome. I didn't know that helps you sleep. I just spoke up as anyone
I
has to feel the growing up more. I love the way my brain is working.
growing up more in a way. I've definitely my head's a lot clearer, and I do think through my decisions a lot better nowadays. I'm not just so spontaneous, I guess. But I'm still very young at heart.
We
My
all are.
daughter, my youngest, she plays. She does live streaming on Twitch, and I jump in every now and then. Like I don't have a PC, so I can't play the games. But everyone's like, "Oh, here's Lindy," and hi. They all say hi, mum, and yeah, I'm a cool mum apparently, and I'm loving it.
That's funny.
So yeah,
Let's see.
what Michael says is true. The folds of that edema is a total ball. Yeah.
Yeah. The skin breaks down. That's where the skin mostly breaks down after me. And I got 4 folds.
Mm.
Well, do you find that when you fast that those get better?
Yeah. That's why
Yeah.
I'm fasting now.
Yeah,
That's why I'm hoping this week will really get some of this fluid off me and get me back down to where I was.
for
I
sure.
tolerate a lot less, shorter fuse. I call the BS out here at home a lot more.
We barely noticed, Mary Wynn. We barely even noticed.
Yeah. I was a lot quieter back then. I sort of just did my own thing and just let everyone rule me. But now I've got a voice. I speak my mind, and I don't know whether my hubby likes it, but I think he does. Yeah.
For sure.
I'm struggling with social situations and travel. Wednesday donuts at work doesn't help. Any tips and tricks?
I think priming helped a lot heal. Priming at the Steak and Butter Gang helped me heal pretty much all the addictions I had, and then fasting, building up that fasting muscle made it really easy, because when you're fasting, you're always getting used to saying no to, I don't know, temptations, I guess. And so now that I've done enough fasting, like nothing wavers me as far as temptations go. As far as the travel situations, that's another reason I like fasting. Like when I flew to Texas, I just fasted through the whole thing, so I didn't
Yeah.
have to worry about any of it. So fasting was really handy for the travel. Yeah, and then social situations where, basically, I guess my why and uh, my turnaround was big enough that, like, I don't care what people think socially. Like, I really don't care what people think. If there's not carnivore food to eat, I have no problem telling them it's because that other crap kills you, and I was dying not too long ago, so I'm totally happy not eating it, and I don't mind having that conversation. But that's what I do. How about you guys?
Yeah. Well, I think for Wednesdays, why don't you eat before you go to
Mm-hmm.
these little functions where the donuts are, or take in a little platter for yourself with some
Yeah.
smoked salmon, some eggs,
Bacon.
some some cheese if you can
Yeah.
tolerate cheese. You find that most people will look at those donuts and look at your plate and they'll want to pick off your plate. I've had that so many times where people are like, oh, good, that looks pretty good. And they want to eat off my plate and forget about those sweets. So maybe that's something that when they see you doing that, they might offer that as an option as well instead of doing donuts. I mean, you're always going to have those people that go straight for the donuts, but think the majority of people will want to eat off your plate. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'd much rather have that. I just like donuts. To me, I smell the oil that they cook them in,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's a big turn off for me. I'm really sensitive to smells now. Everything smells like that oil smell, and I don't want that. I guess my testosterone level is up. I'm no longer passive. I definitely speak up more.
Yeah,
Cool.
that'll that'll happen. I did have an incident once when I was taking TRT shots where I shoved a guy back in his car window. That was pretty funny. So it'll definitely get your juices flowing when your testosterone gets up. You're definitely not passive no more. That's for sure. That's funny. You know this guy?
Oh, I think is he up? He was in bed when I left him, snoring his head off.
Hey, Scott. Good morning. Let's see. It's one for Michael.
Have you considered finding a certified lymphatic specialist for manual lymphatic drainage? I found one who visits me. A regular doctor typically doesn't consider this. It's been so helpful.
I've had it in the past. I've had it probably about 20 years ago. I used to go to the hospital each day for physical therapy with the lymphatic massage and wrapping. But where I'm stuck right now is I can't get out of my apartment. So to go do that anymore, and I don't think my insurance will cover the home visits. It's hard to find anybody that takes my insurance to do home visits. I can go to places, but having them come to me, it's no go.
Hmm. My problem is I need to do more walking and less work on the computer, do my graphic design stuff. Absolutely. I feel you there. I work on a computer all day long, but what really has helped me is taking breaks and finding stuff to go do, like I kind of break up my workouts. I do a kind of a workout in the morning to get the lymphatic stuff moving, and then I do a little bit of weightlifting at night. And at noon, I've been trying to get outside and get some sun, and I just walk around and pace a little bit in the sun because Dr. Berg had a video a while back talking about how you really need sun and D3 from the sun to really mobilize stored fat very well. And so I started doing that. And I mean, the weight's definitely been melting off me. The heat and the sun has been a good thing. I mean, that's
Since
why,
Austin, the big difference for you.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I noticed that in the sun and the heat, I felt better. And I was, well, what Austin really did for me was it let me see that I used to not have any tolerance to the heat. Like I get way overheated, I get dizzy, and but of course I was, over 200 pounds. Shoot, I was close to 260 pounds or something. I think when I went to Austin, we're 270 pounds down when I went to Austin. And so that allowed me to handle the heat a lot better. And so then I could stay out in the sun more. The sun definitely made me feel better. And that definitely started mobilizing fat. So when I got home, I'm like, well, I'm not going to lose that momentum, which is why I keep getting crispy fried and burnt, because the sun's doing a lot to help that. So just getting out, if you could just get outside and get in the sun a couple of times a day, just for 10 minutes, just to move, so, just gets your circulation moving, move the lymphatic system, mobilize some of that fat. It sure does help.
Yeah. And I work from home and I'm computer based as well. I've actually bought a second vibration plate, which I have under my desk, and I have that going with my feet on it. And I have it on like the jogging mode, which I really love. It really gives my legs a workout while I'm working. So I do like to get up throughout the day and go and do something. Like if I can go into the bedroom and do my little walking workout, or I've got a treadmill, which I've moved now into another room, which is just around the corner from here. So I might try and jump on that or do some arm lifts or whatever, just to loosen my body up. But I've got the vibration plate going pretty much full time all day, and I love it. I was outside working in the sun for 6 hours today. No shirt, no sunscreen, and no sunburn. I used to burn in 15 minutes. Oh, 100%. I'm hoping I get to that. Yeah, my dad used to burn a lot, but he wasn't carnivore. And then he moved to Queensland, and he was, very dark, had a tan. So I'm hoping that will work for me eventually, that I won't burn. We'll see this summer.
I've never been able to tan in my life, and because I usually go from white to cherry tomato.
Red.
Yeah. Back to white. That was all I ever did. And this year I've tanned, and it's got to be better skin. It's got to be carnivore skin. That's the only thing.
I'd have the red and then peel and blister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I
and
would
then
always
white.
get. It's going to be interesting when I get out there. Yep.
I think it'll be good. It took a while. My brother got carnivore skin pretty quick. I did not. It took me, well, I think like 14 months to start getting carnivore skin. Really, it got better for sure, but my skin really improved about 14 months. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot. I don't know. It does a lot for you. And I think when your skin's made out of the right stuff, it doesn't just burn. It actually handles the heat really well, Let's see here. I think we caught up, and we're at 3 hours, 4 minutes, and 12 seconds.
Yay, so overtime for Michael.
Michael gets 3 times his normal pay, which is great news if he made something. But Mary Wynn, I think, has a question on the way out.
Do any of you take any supplements, including electrolytes? Who wants to go first?
I take magnesium, potassium, zinc, and D3.
I take D3 and recently introduced K2, Dr. Hampton's recommendation. I take folate because I'm deficient in that. Deficient in the D3. Electrolytes once every 2 or 3 months when I remember. I've got them there, but if I'm ever feeling crappy, I'll have one. But otherwise, they're just there for backup. I just salt my food. That's enough for me. So nothing else.
I take
Todd?
Let's see. I take amino acids. I take the optimal aminos. Where's the camera? Right. Oh, that's not helping. That's in like, you're going to have to take my word for it. This says optimal aminos. And then on top of those, these are the 9 essential amino acids. I also take a branched chain amino acid, which is creatine. I've been taking, because now I'm a lifter. That's a little bit of a joke, but it's what the bodybuilders do. I don't think that I actually probably need it, but I'm doing it just probably because it makes me feel better to think that I need it. So I'm taking it. Then Coach Amy got me on this. It's called Stinging Nettle. It's a natural fluid pill, basically.
I've taken
So
those before.
Yeah, so I've been taking that. It's working good. But my favorite and the only one that I swear by and need
Iodine.
is the iodine. Yeah, the J. Crow's 5%.
And I take my iodine daily.
Yeah.
The rest of the stuff that I take, I don't take it every day.
I take
Mm.
all three of the. I take the aminos and the stinging nettle. I take the stinging nettle every day. I take the aminos when I'm not fasting because they make me so hungry when I am fasting. So I'm not taking them. So half the month I take the aminos. I take stinging nettle every day because it keeps the fluid off me, or it does help. I think it seems to be helping. And I take the iodine every day religiously without fail. Out of anything, that is what's made the biggest difference in energy for me by a long shot.
Have you tried the stinging nettle, Michael?
I used to take it a long time ago, but I haven't taken it recently. No.
Okay.
I've taken horsetail stuff, whatever it was called. I did back then. I did a lot of research for lymphedema, but I just wasn't moving, so the fluid wasn't moving. So I don't know if it was really working back then. I'd be willing to try it now.
It seems to be. I mean, at first when I was doing it, I was noticing it was moving a lot of fluid. Now I don't. I think it's probably just maintaining for me because I've got a lot of fluid off.
Right. No, I know. I've seen your legs.
Yeah. Thank you guys for the show tonight. I love all three of y'all. Take care. I started my new job. Oh, congratulations on your new job. That's awesome.
Yeah, congrats.
Awesome.
Now you can knock it out of the park with carnivore energy. So that's awesome. Let's see here.
Good job.
All right. I think
we're all caught up.
I think so. What does stinging nettle do? Apparently, it's just a like a natural diuretic, I guess, or whatever. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Fluid pill.
Saturday, I fly to Wisconsin for my brother's funeral. Oh, man, I'm sorry, John. He passed a week ago from cancer. I'm sure I'll be challenged with much bad food. Well,
crazy.
Man, that's
sorry.
So sorry to hear that.
Yep.
But stay strong, and you know, I don't know. I'm sure your health will be an example to your family there for sure.
Yeah, just be kind to yourself and just eat before you go to these functions, and that way you can just sort of fast through it when you're there. So the more meat's in your belly, the less you're going to have that's bad. But day at a time, just be kind, and all the best.
Yep.
For sure.
Stay strong.
Yep. For sure. All right. We will see you guys. Thanks, Mike. We will see you guys next week. And I was trying to think. I guess we didn't come up with a topic for next week yet. We'll come up with a topic right after this. I was going to say.
And if you guys have a topic that you'd like us to cover, post it in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anything you'd like us to talk about? Because, it's kind of a revolving door of people around here. So we don't want to beat the same topics to death, but also I don't know, what do they call it? Evergreen conversations kind of need to happen. So we're just let us know if you guys have any questions or what you'd like to talk about. We'd sure appreciate it. We appreciate all you guys. It was great having you here. Thank you all for coming. And we love you, and we'll see you next week.
We will.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a great week.